No turf. Get him with the stiffy. Get him with this. You gotta switch hands on him. Come on, man.
Peace and Black African power, y'all. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV with Kofi Piesie Research Team. Y'all wanted it, so we set the show up. First, I want to say ETM Hotel, Dua Aku, Dua Netcha, Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Rivi, Majuba Ibi Gungun, Majuba Ibi Gungun, Majuba Ibi Alakba, Majuba Ibi Alakba, Egungun, Kiki Egungun. We always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors, because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also want to stand honor and praises unto the true and living elders, according to, I didn't mean to do that, from an African perspective and the African worldview. We got brother Sutek, we got brother Sean Inert Sean Calfani, and our brother Chavis Tep Hesed Aul McCray. I'm gonna mute my mic. I'm finna change computers.
Hey, Shay Lafayette. Peace to the chat. Appreciate all y'all for coming through. We back at it again. Please, as you come in, fam, please like the show. Please share the show. Like my brothers say, man, tell a friend to tell a friend that we about to be going in. So, again, appreciate y'all, man, for coming through. Everybody that's in the chat, Sister Anusha, Brother Robert, Brother Amari, 93, what up, bro? Dundada, everybody, man. Brother Thurman, Mongo, appreciate all y'all, man. Make sure y'all please share the show with people that you know would appreciate the information and the bill that we do on this Kofi Piesie Research Team channel.
ETM Hotel, Rennie Sean, welcome in peace. My name is Sean. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into Kofi Piesie Research Team. This is a much needed and overdue conversation that we're getting ready to have while Kofi is still switching his laptops and all that. I don't know if Chavis is on the ones and twos, but your boy is in the building, and I ain't playing no games with these suckers. Dang, I got to look at this dude forehead shine for 15 hours. Look at him. Look at his forehead. And then look at this dude who dreads just degenerate. That's why he didn't want to get on camera. Now he didn't got on camera. Now you look busted and disgusted. Tell your wife, hurry up.
She doing her thing right now. Good hating. You know what I'm saying? Mind your business. But peace to the chat.
You need to turn your camera off then, her, till she get done. You need to turn your camera. Listen, you gonna run our viewers off.
I doubt it. But I'm just sit back. I'm gonna sit back and listen for right now.
All right, man. Well, everybody spoke. The name of the show is "We Are Not a Part of the Conscious Community," and what is the Conscious Community? Now, I put this in the chat the other day in our back chat. We brothers, we build every day. We talk every day. It's not a day go by that we don't talk to each other. So we talk every day. So this is just not a social media group. You know what I'm saying? We more than a social media group. Y'all should know that by now. We brothers, like I said, we communicate every day. You know what I'm saying? And we put out various projects together. So like I said, again, the name of the show is "We Are Not a Part of the Conscious Community." And what is the conscious community? So we're gonna later on in the show, you're gonna understand why we say we are not a part of the conscious community. But Sean, before we talk about the what the conscious community is now, I don't have a lot. I know True Story and them, they talked about, where the conscious community started out and who was those people and what was their intentions and their goals, but we know where the conscious community is now. And I'm questioning when we use the word conscious. I think we need to change that word conscious. That's just my own opinion, and I'm gonna state why. I say we need to change the name from the conscious community. But what can if you can remember what was, like I said, I'm not very familiar with that. What can you, because I remember you talking about this too, man. Can you kind of tell us like where did the conscious community actually where it started out and what it set out to be in the beginning? Because a lot of people think, and I'm not going, I know a lot of people think that the conscious community started with one particular person, and that's incorrect. It didn't start with that individual. So can you kind of explain to the people, man, like where's the conscious community, not the state of the, well, what the conscious community is now, but the conscious community when it first when the conscious community first originated, and if you can remember some of the players or the key players that actually set the conscious community off, and what was their goal and their objective.
All right, so in the early 1900s, really like late 1800s, like 1890s, the literate African Americans were trying to position themselves into history, where westernized information dominated world history. So you had people that was rejecting the westernized version of history, and they began to write for themselves. You had the Jews writing for themselves, the Chinese writing for themselves, the Russians writing for themselves. You had all these different ethnicities writing for themselves, but there was no one that was writing for Africans and African Americans. So out of the dire need for intellectuals, an organization called the American Negro Academy was formed, and some of the key leaders of the talented 10th is what they're known to most people by. But the out of that organization, you had leaders such as Alexander Crummell, who is, one true story and always refers to. He was an influential leader. He was the first president of the American Negro Academy. You had Francis Gramike, who was also instrumental in that. You had a bunch of people that was a part of that. Carter G. You had Carter G. I can't remember everybody off the top of my head, but I actually did a presentation on it. Schomburg, he came a little later on, but there was a host of people that was involved in the American Negro, and that pretty much the American Negro Academy paved way to this era of consciousness, this intellectualism. So during maybe a couple of years ago, we had a movement of anti-intellectualism that transpired in the community. And during those conversations and things of that nature, you had that take place. And people, I said Carter G, but you had like W.B. Du Bois, and who was also instrumental in that movement and things of that nature. I really was mixing some things up, but yeah, W.B. Du Bois, Gramike, Alexander Crummell, Schomburg were some of the influential players, but there was a lot more people who were a part of that whole movement. So you get this notion of organization coming into play, and these people organized together and put things in motion in Washington in Crummell's home in the living room, and they organized themselves in a way to where they can start writing history and writing letters and writing these journals and articles to challenge white academia and Eurocentrism, right? And that worldview. So they propagated themselves into being the front runners of literacy, right?
Right.
So he said the pills lead with true information. So now we have someone reestablishing the African American presence in American history and Africa's history overall. And so we get introduced to some of these Eurocentric scholars who propagated the analogy of what is that? We came before Columbus thoughts and things of that nature, some pseudo-wisdoms that crept into the community that actually hindered us. But all in all, you know, this was really the first conscious community, right? Now, the one that we see today isn't that, because I'm going to say the evolution of the conscious community really didn't evolve. What I'm going to say right now is that the American Negro Academy and the onset of authors and literaries and intellectuals, what they did was they created an opportunity to challenge the status quo. All right. And then later you get the Dr. Benz, Dr. John Henry Clark's, John G. Jackson, and you know, you get that realm of intellectuals that come in behind that later on to climb the ladder, stand on the shoulders of the ancestors that came before them. You get the Hubert Harrisons and stuff like that, to stand on the shoulders of people like that and move the information forward, right? So you still have a consciousness overwhelming everyone, bringing things to the forefront. And then you have the unintellectuals come in, and we're stuck. This is why you see brother Coach in the chat talking about the pills, the the makeup scholarship stuff, right? And we've been stuck there since our greatest ancestors transitioned, and no one really picked up the slack to move things forward. So we're very anti-intellectual and anti-scientific today, and this is a problem that has been brewing for quite some time. So I'm going to say that intellectualism is a sign of consciousness. Anti-intellectualism is a sign of anti-consciousness, or AKA woke. So there's two different levels. You have woke people and you have conscious intellectuals.
Okay. So
same tree, different branch.
That's right. We show from a different branch. And we definitely gonna, if people don't know tonight, we definitely gonna draw the line tonight. But I just wanted him to start off with that, because a lot of times when we mention the conscious community, we think of one individual. And that is not where the conscious community actually started at. It started way before this individual. So, and with you, and I wanted you to set the stage with that, because when you talk about, like you talked about some of those brothers who started the conscious community, what was it? The what's the name? The what you say they called themselves at that time? You still with me, Sean? Well, I can't remember. He must have walked away, but that's why I wanted him to set that up, is because, like I said, it didn't start with this individual. And when we look at the start of the conscious community early on, before we get to what we are calling the conscious community today, like Sean said, those were the individuals that actually set the stage. These was individuals who were literate. These were individuals who were intellectuals. These was individuals who produced things. He talked about them producing journals, them producing writing. They began to write on our behalf because we had other people telling our own stories. So these individuals began to read, research, and travel, and began to produce works such as journals and publications. And then, like he said, set forward with these individuals, come John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, Asa Hilliard, John G. Jackson, Sheikh Auntie Diop, and so many. The list goes on with the ancestor that has transitioned. And these individuals that came after the conscious community, or the original conscious community started, I'll just say that the original conscious community started, and you start to see a lot of our great ancestors who took on that mantle and began to do the same thing. They began to travel. They began to read, research, study, conduct comparative analysis, and understand proper research methodology. They began to produce things for the people so that we can have, they was able to leave stuff behind. So now we at a point where we got something that is totally different than the beginning stages of the conscious community, right? So, and this is why I'm saying that a lot of individuals and what we call in the conscious community, social media community, is not doing some of the same standards we have in a sense have devolved or lowered the bar or lowered the standard in what these individuals created in the beginning. And then our ancestors, then the people, a lot of people like we named John Henry Clark, A.C. Hilliard, Dr. Ben, and etc., took on the mantle and pushed it forward. There is nothing being pushed forward today when it comes to the conscious community. A lot of individuals in the conscious community today, you know what I'm saying, are illiterate. It's illiterate. A lot of individuals in the conscious community is not reading. A lot of individuals is not researching. A lot of individuals it has become not about the people, it has become about their own gain. You have people saying that they are for the people, but they're really not for the people. They are for themselves. So I'm gonna stop right there because I want to come back because there's some more stuff that I want to share. So in this conversation, we're gonna continue the conversation, but like I said, this conversation started off in our back chat. I asked the brothers a question. Are we a part of the conscious community? Because I wanted to hear, because I know when we talk about part of the conscious community, we associated with some people that you could say that's in the conscious community, like, various brothers we associate with, they may associate themselves with the conscious community. But if you take a look at it, and like I said, we're going to draw the line tonight, but if you take a look at it, what y'all are deeming the conscious communities, these certain platforms that y'all deeming the conscious communities, we hadn't been on those platforms. Those platforms that y'all deeming the conscious community. So the conscious community probably don't even accept us. And they probably don't accept us because we don't fit the script of what we call in the conscious community today. Because the conscious community today is non-producers. You know what I'm saying? They can't say that about us over here, non-producers. So we're doing exactly what those individuals that started the conscious community early on, I'm gonna say the first conscious community, not the second conscious community. The second conscious community, we identify an individual with the second conscious community. So we're going back to the first conscious community where you had individuals, like I said, that was actually producing, writing journals, traveling, writing various publications that have been left behind, you know what I'm saying, for us to take and us to build on. And with that thing, the Dr. Ben's, the John Henry Clark, the A. Shahirians, the John G. Jacksons, the Sheikh Auntie Diop, and so forth, build upon those works. And somewhere down the line, with the second conscious community, that standard of that bar that was raised has definitely been lowered. So, and with us, we over here, we're about critical thinking, we're about rational thinking, we're about logical thinking, and we're definitely about proper research. You know what I'm saying? Where's the data? And etc. So that might disqualify us for being a part of the second conscious community, because like I said, we is not a part of that community. If you and I'm gonna reiterate some of those things and explain again if you're not catching what I'm saying when I had Sean to set the things off. But I'm gonna digress for a minute because I want my other brothers to get in here, because we having a conversation, and we just wanted to we had this conversation the other day, and Sean was like, let's just go, a while ago, let's just go ahead and have the conversation over the air. So I'm gonna digress for a minute. I'm gonna give the floor to, I see Brother Sutek, Brother Chavis, and Brother Satepara. So I digress. And what you got, Brother Sutek?
Y'all go ahead real quick. I'll come back.
All right, Chavis, you want to go in?
Yeah. Like when we had a discussion, we had an issue of the term being super broad, you know what I'm saying? Husband. And that was something that I thought when we was discussing it, that would make it difficult for us to separate. But like I was saying then, like you was just saying right now, there are plenty distinctions as far as the type of information, the character, integrity, whatnot. I just thought it would be difficult just based on how people appeal to, common belief and appeal to what's already, generalized. To do that, people may feel like we contradicting it. Like, okay, they were saying you're not a part of we're basically saying we're not a part of the second conscious community. We're more in tune with and standing on the shoulders of the first one, which I agree with. I just, when we had that discussion then, I was the only one that felt like, yeah, we were. And my explanation was that just based on the simple definition of being, aware and whatnot. But I'm in full agreement with what you're saying though.
Yeah, because you was kind of in opposition with everybody else when we was talking, and I didn't bring it up neither about when I'm just saying the first conscious community, because like I said, when we talk about the conscious community, there is individual who is the face of the conscious community, and who they would say would be the godfather of the conscious community. He has that, and his platform has that face. So when you mention the conscious community, that's who the people, you know what I'm saying, that's the face that they see. But that is not where the conscious community started at. And like we was voicing in the back check. But I hold on before I even do that. So Teppenrob, you got anything? You got anything, brother?
Nah, I gotta figure out what's going on. I don't know. I just seen y'all I got a notification y'all was live, so I'm trying to catch up on the conversation.
Okay. You wasn't okay. Now you weren't a part of the conversation in the back chat that we had the other day. But what we're talking about, Satep, is the name. The show is, well, actually, I put in the chat the other day. Me, Sean, Sutep, and Chavis was having a conversation, having a discussion. I put in the chat, are we a part of the conscious community, and what is the conscious community? So I wanted to see, like, I knew where my stance was, but I wanted to see what you all guys thought about it. Or do y'all associate us with the conscious community? So we kind of went back and forth about the conscious community. What is the conscious community? So I wanted
Oh, okay.
Sean.
Yeah. I believe the Kofi Piesie Research Team is a part of the conscious community.
Okay, and why do you believe that we are part of the conscious community? I'm saying we're not,
I
but
know.
okay.
I'm saying
So
we are because everybody all 28 people that's watching right now is part of the same community. It's the conscious. This community is the community. We all got the same Facebook friends. Everybody do the same shows. Everybody know everybody. So if we ain't the people we sell our books to is in the conscious community. They not outside of the conscious community. The people we sell our merchandise to, the people that support us, they in the conscious community. They not in the white community. They not in the LGBTQ community. That's just like somebody in the LGBTQ community, and that's the people that they talk to. That's the people that they associate with. That's the people they sell their merchandise to. But they saying they not a part of the LGBTQ community. You feel what I'm saying? Like everybody, we all in the conscious community. We all are. In my perspective, some brothers may have a different perspective on it, but
and I
this
definitely have
community
a
is
different perspective.
everybody's the same. Like what? Okay, let me ask you this then, Kofi. What community are we a part of?
We are part of what, and if I don't, you missed the first beginning of it. I had Sean to set the stage. So we talked about the first conscious community, and he talked about where the conscious community actually originated in New York, and who was these individuals who actually started the conscious community, not the second conscious community, with an individual who we think started the conscious community.
What's the second one though? What's the
Okay,
second?
I'm not going to speak on it. I'm gonna just say the second one is the illiterate. It's the
Nah,
unconscious community.
the creation of it. Hold on, the creation of it. It says Sean's the ringleader. The creation of it is is that you have Alexander Crummell. You're talking about the American Negro Academy. That's the foundation. You don't get to the Harlem Renaissance until you deal with Alexander Crummell and what the American Negro Academy and the Talented 10 did, because that was the intellectual movement in the mind of African Americans and at the root of African information in America, right? Because everybody else was writing against Western scholarship, refuting Western information. The Russians, the other European nations, the Jews, the Chinese, the Japanese, everybody else was refusing to adhere to racism, white supremacy, or westernized information when it came to history. But nobody spoke to or represented for Africa. So there was standards, right? When they set a standard of presidents, these intellectuals set a precedent. And bound by their presidents, they had bylaws and all kind of certain things that they organized around their organization to move the country forward and to bring in critical thinking and other areas of information that help the black mind evolve. So what he's saying now is he's comparing the onset of the American Negro Academy and the likes, and I'm not limiting it to just the American Negro Academy, but the likes, to what we see today with this, because what we see today isn't really the same level of consciousness that we saw in 1890s and the early 1900s.
Correct.
Yeah, I get that, but what I'm saying is everybody on here and everybody that's in the chat, everybody who we socialize with, all watch Signet TV is the community. That's
Don't
the
put
con.
me in
I
there.
know
Don't
you
put
don't
me
want to
in.
hear it, Kofi, but I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say it. That's the conscious community.
But
I'm in
see, and that's
Rod
the
Hold on.
second. That's
Hold
what
on.
I mean.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Though. Let me
Go
finish.
ahead.
Then you can combat it. But look though, Sinetter is the conscious community. Amin Ra Squad is the conscious community. Mossy Warrior Clan is the conscious community.
I disagree with that.
Dagger Squad is the conscious community. Like all these different groups are the conscious community that we are a part of and that our viewers are seeing and watching. We may not agree with Sinetta, but out of 32 people on here, I guarantee 50% of them have watched it. No, I'll say 80% of it know who that is, know everybody who I just named. That is the conscious community of our time. I get the one y'all talking about, but the one we talking about today, it's this one.
I'm not a part of that one. I hadn't. You just and that's what when I meant to first and see. That's the thing that I did. I didn't want to involve or say anybody's name, but you threw his name out there because everybody that talks about the conscious community think that is where it started at, and that is not where it started at. It was a standard. It was a standard with those 10 individuals, and then after those 10 individuals, you still had a standard. You had, after those people, like I said, you had a Dr. Ben, you had a John G. Jackson, Asa Hilliard, Sheikh Anta Diop, and the list just goes on and on. These guys was intellectuals. These guys produced. These guys wrote journals. These guys produced work. These guys was heavily into reading and researching. And the second conscious community is not not the same as the first conscious community. And even when you go back and you mention one, and like I said, like everybody else do, when you mention the conscious community, there is a face on the conscious community. And we have not been on that face platform. We have not been on that. We haven't been on the extensions.
Kofi, look, I named off more than that person.
Right, but Master Warrior Clan ain't been over there.
No, I'm saying no. I named off multiple. All of us as a conglomerate is the conscious community, and I'll do you one better. It was a conscious community before the conscious community that you say is the second one, because you had Bobby Hemmett, Dr. Phil Valentine, all these older people. That was a community of people in their time. That was called
right. But again, I'm going back to the beginning. The standard. That's why we drawing the line. The standard. It is not. Today's conscious community. No one reads. If you go on any of those platforms, everybody is on there for entertainment. Nobody is reading. Nobody is critically thinking. Nobody is producing anything. Everybody just bumping gums and talking and kind of pass time because they have nothing else to do but get on something and watch somebody bump gums and talk shit amongst one another. I'm saying that if we go back to the standard, the beginning, I'm not involved with any. I'm associated with some people that you can say are part of the conscious community. But again, when you talk about the face, I'm not a part of the second conscious community. I'm not, even if we, like you said, we got individuals inside of that, but I'm drawing the line. I'm drawing the line between the two. I'm not a part of that. And when I go back and I look at what, go ahead.
Let's do this. What? All right, because we saying let's just break it down. Like Sean like to say, let's slow it down. We're gonna just slow it down to the two words that's causing all this uproar. Conscious and community. Now, if we say conscious, we talking about people, and we just gonna say simple, like people that know their history.
Can we define it though? Can we define conscious?
Yes, let's define it, because
we can define it.
We had defined it that day as just being awareness or being awake. Because this is the same thing that he's saying. It's a lot of the same points I was raising.
No, what I'm saying, I don't even want to say awake. All I'm saying is people that are aware of their history, whether you feel like it's Yoruba, whether you feel like it's Kemet, whether you feel like it's more Hebrew, whatever. You're not thinking. Hold on, wait a minute. You're not thinking to be conscious is not to be Christian, right? So you're not of the mindset of white Jesus. That's what I mean by conscious. Like you're not in that.
You got Hebrews are part of the conscious community. Christians are part of the conscious community.
Who?
Shoot, you got the Hebrew Israelites.
What Hebrew? I ain't named no Hebrews in the conscious community. Which ones you talking about?
Captain Desaria.
He don't believe in white Jesus.
All them letters, Hebrews.
Even the Christians. What's the brother always on what's the name platform? There's always debate. There's been a few Christians.
You got Adam Coleman. You got Pastor Bennett
over there now.
Pastor
Yeah,
Bennett
Pastor
is new.
Bennett.
Hold on, wait a minute. Pastor Bennett is new. Where was Pastor Bennett in 2016?
But I'm
But
saying
he a
Pastor
part of the
Bennett-
conscious community right now. though.
I'm talking, but listen though, I'm talking. Y'all know what I'm talking. I'm talking about the foundation of this shit that we talking about. Starts with Side Netter, then it goes Amon Ra Squad. Then you got your Dagger Squads. You got Team Osiris. Like you got all these different sets, all these different groups. That's the conscious community of our day and our time. I get what y'all saying. The people before us, but we can't. Yeah, we left the standard. We left the standard is left, but the
No, it's
community.
not.
Huh?
Yeah, I ain't talking
We
about them
doing
people.
it. What are you? We doing it.
Yeah,
We
but
are doing exactly
hold
what
on, wait a
those
minute.
people I named gone away from. We are doing that right now. We are doing it.
So you saying that everybody in Dr. Ben's time, Dr. John Henry Clarkson, all them that was in their community, it wasn't people that was doing it and wasn't doing it. Like they was arguing with folks in their day and time.
Right. Okay. We're talking about producing. We're talking about producing. We're talking about research methodology. We're talking about intelligent, and we're talking about producing. There are very few in the conscious community that is doing what the first conscious community was doing, and those that came after the conscious community.
So who are the very few that's
Bobby
doing it?
Hemmett, that you just mentioned, that is a makeup artist.
Hold on, Kofi. Who are the few that's doing it in the conscious community?
Well, I mean, and I don't even put them in a conscious community because
hold on, yeah, because you almost walked in that back
right.
alley.
But I'm saying I'm not putting them in the conscious community. Even when you mentioned the Amon Ra Squad, those individuals. There probably is a part of the conscious community because the second conscious community, because I'm saying because of the platform that they have been on numerous of times. Because when you mentioned the second, when we made the distinguish between the two, you put the face on it. I didn't want to name it, but you named him, and that's the face that everybody is talking about. So that's where the second community, that's where the second conscious community come in, where you don't have to produce anything. You don't have to be you don't have to be an intellectual. You don't have to show sources. You don't have to know research methodology. All you have to do is be charismatic. All you have to be able to talk with big words. All you have to do is be entertainment. That's the standard now. And just about every platform is emulating that platform that started the second conscious community. And I'm saying, and like I said, and we, even with the face, we have never been over there. Kofi Piesie Research Team have never been over there. Massey Warrior Clan has never been over there.
Kofi, if we not part of the conscious community, why would we be over there?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So why you keep saying that though? Like that's common. Like if you not part of that, that's why would Kofi Piesie TV be part of the LGBTQ community? Why would we be over there, Kofi, if we not a part of that community?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm not a part of it. We're not a part of it.
All right, so but you keep saying it as if if we supposed to be, or we should have been, or we should be.
No, I'm not saying we should be over there. I have never said we should be over there or on any other platforms.
Can I interject? I just want to interject.
Hold on, wait a minute. That's a good build though. This is what I want to ask you. So look, so you saying since we haven't been over there, that makes us not part of the conscious community since we ain't been on that platform.
We don't. Okay, again, when we do, with that platform, most of the people that comes out there that has a name come from that platform that has a name. We have not come from that platform. That platform didn't put us on. And even with the individual that comes from that platform comes from that same formula, that same makeup. We don't come from that same formula and
I'm just confused as to what qualifies you to be a part of the conscious community. Is it going on that platform?
Right, I'm talking about the first conscious community.
We haven't really defined it. That's why I think it's like we're characterizing it and making someone in the face, but it gets confusing because like you saying we more like the first one, but not like the second one. Like, but
Right, we
like,
carrying the torch
yeah,
of the first one.
like that's why I said I can agree with that. But like,
we carrying the torch of the
they are
first one.
conscious. 'Cause when we was having the conversation in the chat, you was like they unconscious. I was like,
They
well,
are.
if they
Half
unconscious,
of them,
now
and
I
I'm
agree.
not trying to
No,
I'm not trying to down talk nobody, but I mean, you can
Hold
go.
on,
We can
Kofi,
pull up.
let
We
him
can pull
go.
up.
Let him go, Kofi.
Go ahead.
no, I was just saying, like,
Kofi, let him
if they
finish.
unconscious, then what will we be?
Well informed.
All right, so let me clear the
We gonna let
exactly,
you go
but
into
let me
it.
clear
Go
it
ahead,
up.
Sean.
So
but you different on here too. We gonna let you get into it. Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
All right, so collective consciousness. Basically, I'm choosing collective consciousness because that is a group thought. That is a community thought. So it's a set of shared beliefs, ideals, moral attitudes which operate as a unifying force within society. So when you say conscious community, does the conscious community have a set of shared beliefs, ideas, and moral attitudes which operate as a unifying force within society? And then in general, it does not refer to specifically moral conscience, but to a
Go
shared
back up, Sean.
understanding.
Go back up, Sean. Go back up. What that shit say? Go back up to what you put in. Did you go back up all the way at the top of the page?
Collective consciousness.
Okay, yeah, you
Collective
can't use that.
consciousness.
You can't use that definition. Collective mean everybody together. Conscious community, everybody ain't together. If we just talking about the word conscious community, you can't throw collective in there because it ain't collective. Even in John,
Can you let
even
me
in
finish?
yeah, you can't use
Can you
collective.
let me finish? Can you let me finish? When you talk about consciousness and you talk about a community, right? The community is going to have a set of shared beliefs, ideas, and moral attitudes. Yes or no?
Yep. You hitting my point. So go ahead.
Go ahead, man. So go ahead.
Okay. We do not have a shared. Now there's sections within the community, or this is why I say it's same tree, different branch. There's parts of the tree that have different shared beliefs, ideas, and moral attitudes and operate as a unifying force within society. And then you have others who do not. And then you have other branches or other limbs that just operate and serves no purpose to the root, which makes us a tree. So what I'm saying is that the concept of consciousness has been changed. It is now woke. So anyone who is woke can now underline themselves inside of so-called consciousness, because that's all that means, is a play on words now. So if we're trying to define consciousness, what does consciousness mean for us to move the conversation forward based on where we are right now? Are we
awareness.
socially conscious, or we higher, like you said?
It means awareness. It means like
That's all I
What are we
said.
here's
aware
another
of?
thing is like I have
What are
people
we
call
aware
me.
of?
They call me of your surroundings
Your history. That's what I said.
of just reality in general. Cause like people call me woke. They like I don't identify as that shit, but the niggas I fuck with, they go that old woke ass nigga.
Oh,
That,
hold on, Chavis. Hold on, Chavis. Have you ever identified yourself as being woke?
probably earlier, but after a while I made like, you know what I'm saying? You start realizing
it's a slur now.
You start wanting to take agency, and that's why I choose to be, you know what I'm saying, an Afrocentric intellectual. You know what I'm saying? If anything.
So
That's
what's
what
the
I was
difference?
saying.
So let me ask y'all this. What's the difference between being conscious and being woke?
Are they both the same to me? The way that the way that they're being used now. But what my thing is, you ain't gonna look in any dictionary and find the definition of the terms that we are talking about.
Right.
When we refer to conscious community, so we need to define this term. That's what I pose, because you're not gonna look up the definition and find what exactly what we talking about when we say conscious, because the word ain't being used like that today.
You absolutely right.
See,
So the
what
word is
we
being
saying,
used by woke people.
what I was saying then was like, it's just when he first asked, I said it was like a subset of society. And they were like, you know what I'm saying? It was an issue of, you know, the distinctions and whatnot. But I like the main similarity is everybody is trying to disseminate information that they became aware of. Now, that's when I was saying we got into it's a spectrum. I was trying to explain it as that, like, yes, we are completely on the other side of the spectrum, but we are all essentially trying to disseminate information. Now, whether they take the same rigorous, methodical approach we do is a whole different conversation. I would feel like, but like that's how when we was having that conversation, I like that's how we get generalized in that, because that's the shit that we have in common. That's the similarity.
See,
I think the mascot.
hold on, who is that? Who is
It's
that?
different. It's
The
different.
chef.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Chef, what's up?
What's up? My bad. What's up, everybody? I think the mascot of what y'all are talking about, the conscious community, would be somebody like Brother Jabari, right? He would be the mascot of what people call woke, or the conscious community, or hotepa. Like all of those things are slurs.
Right. We got into that too. About the hotel.
Yeah, all of those words are slurs now, right? So if anybody is calling y'all a part of the conscious community to the greater community, that's a slur nowadays. So I agree with Kofi to not want to be a part of that, to try to separate from that as much as possible, right? Yeah, you know, we're talking about people that is on the corners selling incense, talking crazy.
All right, let me ask you this, Chef. Let me ask you this, because this is gonna be a good example. All right, Chef. Was you aware of the Amin Ra Squad in 2016?
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
You was watching Sinetta and all that?
Yep.
You was in the chat and all that, right?
No, I wasn't in the chat.
But all right, so when Sheffrin came around, right? Because you ain't been around that long, right?
Right.
So you was not a part of the conscious community until you start associating yourself with Unc, right?
I wouldn't call myself.
No. What I'm saying, though, you see what I'm
situation.
saying though? Like, bro, like when Unc was doing them shows on Real Black Atheists and shit, you wasn't on them shows.
Right.
So now you are though on the pseudo killers. So you are part of the conscious community now.
All right, well, I'm out of the pseudo killers.
No. I'm just saying though, like, bro, like,
the conscious community is right now. It is negative.
Y'all missing it, man. I'm going over y'all's head. I'm going over y'all's head with this shit. Like, look, this is what I'm saying, bro. Nobody knew the name Sheffrin in this community that we talking about, right? Until you start associating yourself with people inside this community. Like Kofi been knew Unc. I've been knew Unc. But we didn't know Sheffrin. Like, I didn't know Chavis. I didn't know Sutek. Until they start associating themselves with people inside this group in this community.
So if we associate with somebody, that therefore that makes us a part of something. Like if let's say, okay, me, I don't, y'all know about it. A lot of people don't know about it. You know what I'm saying? I used to sell drugs, and it was a group of us that was in a gang called the Bloods, West Side Avenue Pyru Blood Gangs. And this certain group of Bloods hung out on the street that sold drugs. And say one of my partners or come up and we cool, but he's not a Blood, and he doesn't sell drugs. Just because he associates himself with me, therefore that makes him a West Side Avenue Pyru Blood and a drug dealer?
No. I'm talking about the people who you hang out with every day, the West Side Pyru, whatever you say. Them the people that you associate with every day. You do dirt with them. Y'all hang out. Y'all do this and that. The dude you talking about, he just pop up. He just come through. Hey, what's up, bro? Then he leave. But the dudes in that group that you talking about, the West Side Pirate, these is the people that's in your community. I'm not talking about somebody that pop in and pop out. I'm talking about the niggas that rock that flag.
So you saying because we go live every week, and the people, and you can look in the majority of the people that's in the chat. You have a few that goes over there, but majority of them, you know, that I know. Well, I can't say that because I don't even watch. I take that back. I don't know, but I'm saying that we're not a part. And that's what I'm saying. We are a subgroup, right? So, and we need.
Hold on, wait. A sub of
There's
what?
the answer right there. There's the answer.
No, look. A sub of what?
We are the 1%.
I swear.
Bro.
Go ahead.
It happens in all society.
Listen to this though, Sean.
It happens in all societies. You're the minority.
No, slow down. What are we a sub of?
I'm answering. All right. There's no slowing. Listen, because you hit everybody with before Sinetta. I wasn't ever watching Sinetta before I heard of the Amon-Ra Squad.
Okay, that's
I
cool.
only watched.
But the Amon-Ra Squad, I put the Amon-Ra Squad in the content.
I only watched. Yeah, but listen to what I'm saying. I didn't hear of them through Sinetta. I heard about the Amon-Ra Squad on Facebook from a Facebook group. What made me even tune in wasn't a Sinetta live stream. It was me looking for the Amon-Ra Squad for information to see what it was, and they ended up being on Sinetta during that Kemet on trial debate. That was the first. Those are the first group of people that I really watched, cool, and that's when I heard about a SETI, and I heard about.
I got the same backstory. I was watching SETI before I knew who Sinetta was. So it's like I'm saying all this shit is together. I'm not separating it. That's what I'm saying. Y'all getting it twisted.
Yeah, what he's saying is, even though you met the Amon-Ra Squad outside of Sinetta, the Amon-Ra Squad brought you into the community.
Same thing with Chef.
And you cross through. Like I know Chef from Unk, right? I may know somebody else through Garfield, and then somebody else from Garfield. You know what I'm saying? And I know Sutex through you, Kofi. So I'm saying all these people like link. Like if you draw a line and connect a thread, we all will be wound up with threads crossing everybody in the community.
Hey, and that thread, that weave, that mesh, that's the community.
That's the community. Exactly. All that thread connects to is the community.
But it's not the House of Conscious.
The House of Conscious is just a part. It's just a building in the community.
Y'all keep trying to.
We don't rock with that building. We don't go to that. It's another building.
So do we have the same worldview as the conscious community?
Nah.
Yeah, because there's all types of views. There's all types of views within. Like even when you had John Henry Clark and them, there were also others who did not rock with them in that same community. We just identified.
You going back?
Yeah, we just identify with the right and exact information, and we shoot away your Delbert Blairs and them niggas like that. That's all.
You going back though? Stay with this generation. This generation of the conscious community. Do we have us on this panel? Do we have the same worldview as those people?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Just because their worldview is pseudo, what I'm saying is that within the conscious community, everybody's not writing exact. Everybody's not writing exact within the conscious community.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because even in the quest of becoming conscious, you got people are lost. They're trying to find their way.
Yeah, the lost people are in that's called a conscious community.
Yeah, no, and there's people who have. I mean, who's teaching the people in the conscious community?
People that's conscious in the conscious community themselves.
And but you have people who are relevant. You still have your people teaching. You still have the Dr. Ma'at, who I met in the community. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't say that she was a part
Methodology.
of the conscious community.
I wouldn't
See,
either.
these people in the conscious community gonna say y'all ain't woke. Y'all Negroes ain't woke. I get told this all the time. I get rejected all the time. You must be I got called a white man just early on the stream a couple days ago because I corrected some scientific misinformation. Like we will not get received with open arms by these people. They do not see us as the same. We
Yeah,
don't
but
got the same worldview.
that's always going to be there, but you still a part of that community.
I would say that's the pseudo conscious community, but it's still the conscious community
But still,
because
Conscious community is pseudo.
listen though,
That's why I say it's a spectrum, bro.
all
It's a
conscious is
spectrum.
being aware. Like we aware of our history. That's all.
No, that's the definition. That's
Bro, like
that's
that's
the
all we talk
textbook
about
definition.
though. That what else is we talking about other than history? All right, even
But
us.
but
Hold on, wait a
words
minute,
are
even us.
defined by their usage, though.
Okay, listen to this though. Even us, as let's say Kofi Piesie TV is outside of the conscious community, all we talk about is history. That's it.
So that's what the conscious community is. History talk.
It's all we talk about. Name something that we don't talk
So
about other than history.
we ain't agree. Science, culture, a lot of stuff, bro.
Linguistics. I mean, we talk about
Current
a
events.
variety of so many
all,
things.
all that's in the community though. But you got
Right. And what I'm saying, when I look at it, I'm just saying, when I look at it, I'm looking at it from the standard from those 10
And
individuals.
linguistics ain't in the community. I refuse to believe that linguistics is a part of the conscious community.
in your neighborhood, right? When you go out your neighborhood, right? You travel down the street. In your community, you got Walmart. You got the goddamn Texaco gas station. You got the African clothing store. You got TJ Maxx. So there's a whole bunch of different shit all within your community. You know what I'm saying? One thing don't define your community. Your community is made up of many different.
Okay,
they're full of Hebrews, Kemetic Christians, all that, bro.
All that shit. Yeah.
But I'm saying,
but not us though.
Right, and I'm saying that because we do it all the time. Like we pride ourselves off of good character. When you look at our groups and the multiple groups that we belong to, this group, the Basi, the Seshu, a lot of people say, okay, them guys there, you go over there, you know, you're not gonna get the nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? These guys are gonna try to be professional as possible, and you know they're gonna try to treat. They're gonna treat people with respect. They're gonna treat people with respect. They're gonna demonstrate good character at all times. So when you get an individual that's a part of these groups, or some individuals a part of this group that does not follow that same model and go outside of that model and does things, when you see them doing certain things that you know the group don't do, or you don't even know the group and they do certain things as far as disrespecting women, disrespecting their elders, reciting pseudo or regurgitating pseudo information, not giving any sources, being scientific illiterate, you're gonna start to think that every person attached to that, everything attached to that person is the same. So I don't want to be attached to that, or our groups attached to that, because we don't ask nobody for no money. We're not scamming nobody. We're not putting on shows and then don't put the shows on and not giving nobody their money back when we don't put the shows on. We're not doing some of the horrendous things in the community. We're not saying we're for the people and then we're showing you that we're not for the people. We're not disrespecting people on a daily basis by calling them out of their name, disrespecting women, or devaluing our people in general. We're not doing some of the things over there. And every person I talk to that talks about this conscious community, those are the things that they talk about. And like I said, then you hear these disrespectful slurs. I'm not a hotep, but what the hell is a hotep? So I'm saying I don't want to be associated with those things, because it is. I have been watching since 2000 and late 2012. 2012, I come into what they call the conscious community. I had just come in. I was confused, brother. I was just buying all kind of books. I didn't know what type of books to buy. I just was buying stuff just to try to buy stuff and try
Kofi, you set yourself up for Sean.
Oh, I ain't studying, Sean. We already know. So yeah, you're right. But I'm saying that it has been consistent, and I'm from what I've seen from 2012, and we in 2021, and it has been consistent with the scamming, not want to, and I'll say it's nothing wrong with entertaining, but when entertainment trumps education, when we're trying to educate our people, like I want to watch some of those platforms. There's a bunch of platforms I don't watch, and I could be missing something. I could not be missing something. I don't watch them because of the antics. I don't watch it because of the blatant disrespect. I don't watch it because of the scamming. I don't watch it because it's no more about the person or the people. It's about the person. It's about how they can enline their pockets. I don't want to be involved with those type of people.
Hold on, real quick.
You want to move out?
Hey, hold on, because I didn't even see that Asar on the panel. He one of the pioneers. What's up, Asar?
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.
Yeah, go ahead and drop it on us. Is this the OG right here?
The anchor. One of the anchors. One of the anchors.
Yeah, the anchor, the Jed Pillar. What's up?
Yes, I appreciate y'all letting me on. Y'all know usually I have to catch y'all in spurts because I be at work when y'all be on. So I got off of work a little earlier, so I got to catch most of what y'all are talking about. So so peace to King Kong of Consciousness, Brother Sheffrin, Tep Haseb, Sean P, Sutek, Brother Kofi, and Satep and Ra, all on the panel, and everyone who was listening. Y'all could be at the club catching COVID, but y'all chose to be here. So we appreciate each and every one of you. I just wanted to kind of share something real quick, and I want to give a resource to everyone. So if I'm allowed to share a screen, I only have like 4 or 5 slides.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the floor is yours. The floor is yours. We
We're
rolling out the red carpet for Asar.
Sorry, the standard.
The anchor of the conscious community.
There you go, Asar.
All righty. I'm gonna start from this slide here. Can y'all see the slide?
We can see it. We can see it. Independent Africa Academia. Academy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this is one of my old professors from U of H back in the early 2000s. His name is Dr. Ahati in Torre. And he wrote a book titled John Henry Clark and the Power of African History, Africological Quest for Decolonization and Sovereignty. And so it goes through the life of Dr. John Henry Clark, and it talks about those early days in the early 1900s and how his self-taught, let me back up, how he was able to gain, the information that he was able to gain being self-taught. But it wasn't like he was really just self-taught in a way. So he didn't go to the university. However, he belonged to what Dr. Torre calls the Independent African Academy. And how he defines this, I wish I had the book on me. It's still in Philly in my storage right now. But he goes all the way back to like the 1700s in the 1800s after slavery, and how because African people were not able to be part of the main educational system, we built what he calls the Independent African Academy. And there was a set of criterion that he outlined which made this Independent African Academy work. And so you got to remember, you know, in the 1800s, in the early 1900s, you didn't have all these black folks in college like you see now.
Right.
You know, you have hundreds of thousands of black folks across the United States graduating. Like, it was a big deal for W.B. Du Bois to get a degree, you know, the first PhD, you know, at the school that he went to, and things like, you know, this is the time when schools like fraternal organizations like Alpha Phi Alpha in 1906, and the AKAs in 08, and the Deltas in 1913, and the Qs and the Kappas. You got to remember that there wasn't many black people on campus, and so we started forming these groups to keep us, to have like a support network to keep us in school. And so what happened was, the few individuals who were able to go to college would come back into the community and share their knowledge. And so the Independent African Academy consists of those kind of on two fronts: those who were students in the quote unquote Independent African Academy, who could not afford to go to the university and get this information, or for other circumstances were not allowed in. And then you had those who were the teachers, who were in academia but felt an obligation to come back into the community and share. And so when Dr. Clark was coming up, he, you know, was the students of the Schoenbergs and others who, even though some consider Schoenberg a bibliophile, that was one of the negative terms that was used against him at the time, but of Hubert Humphrey and all those individuals, like people who went, I'm sorry?
Talented 10.
Well, it's not an issue of the
what's a bibliophile?
A bibliophile is somebody who simply reads a lot, but doesn't necessarily read to synthesize data and produce knowledge. They just know a lot. For example, you can, even though it's not a bibliophile example, y'all remember, I may be dating myself here, what was that show?
Jeopardy.
Oh, crap.
That's what I was about to say, Jeopardy.
No. It's a comedy show, and it has the guy who would always talk about more power. He was always building stuff, and he had a TV show, as a white guy.
Talking about goddamn the handyman Tim.
No, he talking about Star Trek.
No.
I ain't talking about Star Trek.
Talking about the white boys with the tools and shit.
Yeah, he had a show on the show called Tool Time.
Yeah,
I
remember the show.
Tim Arnold.
The wife
Tim
and two
Arnold.
kids. Wife and two boys.
Yeah.
3 young boys.
Tool Time.
I forgot the name of the actual show. But y'all remember the character?
Home Improvement. That's right. Yeah.
Home Improvement, exactly.
Yeah.
So y'all remember the guy who would be on the other side of the fence that had knowledge about every single thing for no damn reason?
Yeah, his name with the hat.
Yeah. You know, they would never show his face.
Yeah.
You know, you could tell he's a bibliophile because he just reads. He just has a passion for knowledge.
So you saying that's who Schoenberg? They claim Schoenberg was a bibliophile.
That I forgot who it was. It's not necessarily that is the case, but he wasn't known for necessarily producing a whole bunch of knowledge. He was known for all the books. He was a teacher more so than anything. So he would consume a lot of information and be ready to teach it in the community. But he wasn't necessarily what we would consider in the modern times a scholar in that sense.
Oh, but that's awesome too.
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with understand. But you know, so Schoenberg was very important.
Hell yeah.
In
he was a library, bro.
Yeah, he was literally a library, which is why the library in New York is named after him, because it got all his books that they could build a library around it. You know, so he was deep into the knowledge of his time. But so I'm just trying to paint a picture and to put into context just how early.
Hey, peace, everybody.
The peace.
Name of the show is Home Improvement.
Yeah, you late, bro. Go ahead. You like we done talked about the whole show.
So yeah, so you know, Dr. Torre is given this background, this backdrop, you know, for the evolution of what he calls the Independent African Academy. So this is when you have your the development of your John Henry Clark's, your what's his name? Crap, the atheist brother.
Jackson.
Yeah.
John G. Jackson.
Yeah, John G. Jackson and others, you know, who came out. So that's, you know, the first wave comes from your people like Martin Delaney and
oh, you talking about Hubert Humphrey?
Yeah, like all it like there's a first wave. Your first wave is at the time of Wilmot Blyden and Martin Delaney and things. So these are the folks who influenced the people like Garvey, you know, and Nkrumah and all them later on. So you know, so it's a long history of this Independent African Academy. So what I'm about to show now is the criterion and the mandates that made this Independent African Academy unique. And so first was research methodology. They focused on the development of research libraries and specialized collections. They did extensive library research, emphasis on the use of both secondary and primary materials, a consultation of sources typically suppressed in the European Academy. So this is, you know, the first, it's a total of four that or four sections of the characteristics of the Independent African Academy. So the first was on research methodology. The second one was pedagogical methodology, meaning teaching methodology, close associations and mentorship between professors and students, lectures, discussion, and directed readings, emphasis on the international dimensions of African history, exploration of African history in relationship to the history of other non-African peoples, Pan-Africanist examination of the international experience and interconnection of Africans globally. So there was a curriculum involved. And so, you know, so we not only studied Africans in Africa, we, you know, it was a global consciousness. So you always hear Dr. John Henry Clark, you know, always talking about a world historical people. And you got to look at African history from a world perspective. And so that's coming from this mandate, you know, within the Independent African Academy. And so notice the first one in this segment in terms of close associations and mentorship between professors and students. So you know, it wasn't just you were just getting knowledge from somebody. You know, you were building a relationship with them. You know, they knew about your family and stuff, and there was an interest in your well-being, not only academically but personally. So the third is the theoretical assumptions. So the theoretical assumptions consist of the African agency as the historiographical starting point for historical interpretation. So before there was, you know, a framework called Afrocentricity, this is essentially what they're arguing. So African agency as the historiographical starting point for historical interpretation, meaning that Africans should not be viewed, and we don't study African people on the margins of history. We study them as agents of their own history and of their own interpretation of their worldview and culture. And so we don't impose anything on the Africans. We let the ancestors speak for themselves. Secondly, African nationalism and Pan-Africanism. Skepticism of assimilationism, Europeanization, and Christianization. So they're skeptic of anybody who wants to assimilate, to go along, to get along, anybody coming with a Eurocentric worldview, and Christians in general. Lastly, indigenous African culture as the basis for modern African human development and society. And so this is this strong emphasis on African cultures all across the continent, including ancient Egypt, the Zimbabwe, ruins, or, of course, the West African societies. We're looking at Africa as a resource and not simply as a reference. And so this is the third mandate, the theoretical assumptions. And lastly, research publications distributed through African-controlled vehicles accessible to African audiences. And so these can be found on page 45 of the text that I mentioned earlier. John Henry Clarke and the Power of African History, Africological Quest for the Decolonization or for decolonization and sovereignty, Dr. Ahati N. Torre. And so when you look at this and understand that the Independent African Academy is what succeeded all the way into the 90s with Dr. John Henry Clarke, Dr. Ben, Asa Hilliard, who else was prominent then? Naeem Akbar, Marimba Ani, et cetera, et cetera.
John G. Jackson,
everybody. Notice that these are people who went to school and specialized in something, but extended their knowledge base beyond their academic specialization and brought this information back to the community. So they were still teaching at the universities, but coming into the community to teach. Because even though more and more people are going to college, not every college has an Africana Studies department or program. Or if they do have an Africana Studies department or program, they may belong to a major where that wouldn't be an approved minor. Like if you was in medicine or something, to say you may not be required to take that course. So for example, when I first left high school, I went to Southwest Texas State University in San Marcos, Texas. And at that school, it was pretty much a lily white school. And there's no African studies courses that you can take for, miles and miles away. If you wanted that, you would probably have to go to UT in Austin. Right. So what we would do, and this group was actually started before I got there. There was the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated got kicked off the yard for hazing. And they were off for a good number of years. But what the brothers did was they started a new organization called Kumasi. And Kumasi was basically this independent African academy. So they wanted to, even though you couldn't put on programs under the fraternity as Alpha Phi Alpha, that couldn't stop you from creating a new organization to still have programs. And that's exactly what they did with Kumasi. And with Kumasi, because there were no African studies courses that you can take on campus, the students took it upon themselves to self-study and teach the community on Wednesdays. And for people who were members or people who just participated, you were required to do some reading, and then like the first 10 or 15 minutes of the Wednesday night class, they would pick somebody to present and summarize what they studied.
ASR.
Uh-huh.
Hey, let me say this to Kofi real quick. I want you to keep going. But Kofi, don't this story he's saying sound just like what we did in the session?
Yeah.
We did on a Wednesday and everything.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, that's just one example, but because they were a student organization, they could get funding. So they used to bring Dr. Ben through. They brought Asa Hilliard through. They brought Naeem Akbar through, to get that extra boost or whatnot. But then, I left there, and at that time I was an accounting major, right? So when I left there and went to the University of Houston, I was still an accounting major. Now, because I was in the School of Business, now U of H had an African American Studies program. Now, what I didn't realize is that, at this school, because they had the program, you can take a minor in African Studies. But nobody pointed out to me that African Studies was different than African American Studies. I'm in my Afrocentric mind thinking African is everything dealing with Black folks, but so I took my 12 hours with African American Studies courses, and none of them counted towards my degree. So I had to go to another building when I found this out after it was too late to take my African Studies classes, because they for the School of Business, they wanted you to either take Asian Studies, African Studies, or South American Studies, because you're dealing with business worldwide. So so that was the logic for that. But African Studies was totally different than African American Studies. But the point is that if you was in the School of Business, for example, you couldn't take African American Studies because it wouldn't count towards your degree. So unless you just wanted to, for your own to satisfy your own hunger of African American Studies, you weren't going to take those courses. And so, but then I switched majors from accounting to the computer software engineering. And so when I went to the technology building, you didn't have to have a minor at all. So imagine you going into the School of Technology. You don't have to take any of these courses. You're not trying to stay longer. You're not trying to waste any more money. So I'm saying all this to say that if you were a Black student in these other courses of interest, you may not have been introduced to any of this African American studies, Africana studies, literature, and things in the way that I was. So those people who had other majors and still was hungry for this information, really the only way that you can get it, either if there was some kind of big lecture on campus, or you took the extracurricular route in the community, and those scholars would come into the communities and teach. And that's what the John Henry Clarks and others were doing in New York and other places. And so the standard of stuff was high. Now, how I break it down, getting back to the subject here, is that I note that you have to start this conversation in slavery. And so after slavery, you have what is called the Independent African Academy. And then the Independent African Academy is still connected to the universities. So then the Independent African Academy students and faculty start fighting for Black studies, and Black studies become a staple on college campuses. Then later on, you get Afrocentricity, which is then relabeled Africology, in terms of the Afrocentric study of African history, language, and culture. And so, but this is on the university track that you have here on the red. You still have an independent group who is still in relations to those who were in the academy. And this is where you find those early 90s lectures and things of that nature. So this is where I came from. So even though for the most part, until I got to U of H and started taking formal classes, I'm independent African Academy because I'm in the School of Business, but there's no Africana Studies, there's no Black Studies courses going on here. But how I break it down is there's a third leg into this, and that's the spiritual community. And the spiritual community consists of the Hebrews, the Christians, the Muslims, and even the African religious folks, people who have left Christianity and Islam and decided to adopt an African traditional religion. And out of this group of spiritualists, so to speak, comes the metaphysics community. And this is your Bobby Hemmett's, your Dr. York's, your Delbert West. I'm sorry? Yeah,
Phil Valentine.
Phil Valentine, Muata Ashby, Jewel Pookrum, Nations of Gods and Earths, your Kemetic Shrines, Moors. And I put in here anyone using the word melanin or believes a spaceship is coming, conspiracy theorists, all of that. They all come out the metaphysics community. And so while there is overlap between the metaphysics spiritual community and the independent African Academy, there's a strong difference, because these folks in the independent African Academy is still connected really, really strong to the academy. And so, they're concerned to a large extent with research methods and getting good, viable information in terms of work. But however, because this is so kind of academic-y and historically, and a lot of historicity involved, there's still a part that is negligent within this because it's so academic, and that is people's spiritual component. And so that's what this other spiritual and metaphysics community was able to fill, in terms of that need. But the problem is with religion, it is essentially, for a lack of a better term, faith-based. And so you don't need a whole bunch of evidence. You just, you rely on your intuition and the gods and the spirits to give you information. And then you become skeptical of any kind of academic work. And so all of that is laying the foundation for what we're calling the quote unquote conscious community. The conscious community is really just a population of individuals within the Black, the overall Black community, if we can say so, who have at their understanding that there's something more, there's something beyond what they've been taught through the mainstream channels of education, whether that's in Christianity, Islam, or in just the regular school system itself. So everyone has that foundational shared consciousness that there's something, like something's not right about what I was traditionally told when I was younger, and I'm now seeking for information. And so now we're in the modern times. You don't get that information necessarily from the lectures at the the slave theater anymore. Now you have the internet. And what happened was, all of the people in the independent African Academy were getting old. So remember, in the 90s, Dr. Ben was old. And and John Henry Clark and Asa Hilliard and all that. They're not tech savvy. But all the pseudos became tech savvy. Wanted to record all their stuff. And this stuff was spreading throughout the throughout the community through the tapes that people like Sonetter was distributing and other bootleggers. And so you got to remember, Sonetter was a bootlegger of people's movies and DVDs.
Yeah, VCR tapes.
Exactly. So so in the mid 2000s, everything is starting to come on the internet. That's when YouTube is born in 2005 or 2006. Around the same time as when you have Blog Talk. So YouTube wasn't that strong because you couldn't upload much at the beginning stages of YouTube. So the first kind of wave outside of the VHS tapes that were circulating was to go through Blog Talk. So that's where I had my show. I had my own show, and Brother Unk and Sister Nikki Love and Brother Obongo, rest in peace, they had a show. It wasn't, it was on some metaphysical. It was, matter of fact, Unk come out of that metaphysical with Nikki Love and all that. So don't let Unk fool you. He wasn't always science.
Right, Gozy was a palm reader, right?
Yeah, So they on that show, that's all the stuff that they were doing. They was dealing with the spirituality. I have, since I was on college campuses, would host and bring in scholars to teach and even have debates between religious communities. So I brought that to the Blog Talk radio program. So what I'm doing now on YouTube is what I was doing then and what I was doing on college campuses. So I've been doing this for 20 something years, since the late 90s. And so when we're talking about the conscious community, we got to understand that it's just a population of individuals who are seeking knowledge, and there are various different world views within that population. So your Hebrews.
Thank you. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Asar. Because this is a beautiful diagram. You actually put it how I was trying to say it. All these people are in the conscious community, correct?
Yeah, because the conscious community is just the Black community.
Thank you.
It's like saying the hip hop community. Like,
or the
hip hop
or the LGBTQ community, right? That's a community.
Yeah, it's a community, but they have different but see, that's just the thing. It's not like the conscious community is not an organization. There's no leader. It's just like when you say Black Twitter. Black Twitter is not a real thing, but it is a real thing. It's just Black folks on Twitter who is all kinds of craziness on Twitter that happened just because Black folks are there.
Yeah, and the community is it's a hub. Right,
yeah,
where
it's just a hub. So it's brother Wujawu, he calls it the social media community because everybody groups the hub is on social media for the most part. But I truly call it the metaphysics community, and I separate them from the Independent African Academy. And so, but I'm not really opposed to the term conscious community. And I belong to the conscious community.
Yeah.
And I say
that. Thank you, man. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
And I say
that. Okay, Jim, I still disagree.
Y'all appeal to authority. Y'all gonna sit there and disagree on all the methodology of
I disagree too.
To appeal to authority.
Thank you, Asar.
That was an excellent breakdown. Excellent breakdown.
Look at you appealing to authority as people on this.
Kill it to a dog.
Look at him. Look at
This
him.
what y'all do.
said
This what
the
You
y'all
don't
smart
want
people
to
on the
have
right.
sources,
Hold on,
man.
wait a minute. Pause. This is what I want y'all to do. I want y'all to, hold on, wait.
You
I
know,
want
when
y'all
I
to
got a
take-
star.
Here you go. I want y'all to take that same energy y'all was giving it to me and say that shit to a song and see how y'all,
What's up?
I
Exactly.
ain't got
This
no
is-
problem.
Hey,
I ain't got no problem.
This is why
I ain't got no
this
problem.
is why I say that I'm a part of the conscious community, because even though I have one foot in the academy, I, like the elders before, come where the people are at, and the people are in the conscious community that are hungering for this knowledge. Everyone else, if they're taking the Africana studies in class, they don't necessarily need someone like myself or Kofi or whatnot, because they have their college professors that they can go to on a regular basis. But for all those in our community, because the conscious community are Black folks, and negative or positive, I claim Black folks, I claim my people. And so I'm where the people are at, even though I may not be down with all the shenanigans that happen in there. I still rep my hood, and in my hood we had doctors, we had engineers, and we had killers and drug dealers and robbers. But it was all
All a
East
part
Side,
of
it
the
was all
community.
East terrorists. We were all there. So I
Yeah.
can't be like, I live off East Commerce Street, in the hood with the doctors and the killers, and be like, no, I'm not part
I
of the
part of that
community. I'm interacting with them. I know everyone's cousins, I'm just not in the part of the community in that subculture that's doing the drug dealing and the stealing and all this other kind of stuff. So I'm not necessarily opposed. I get why everybody's against it, but the problem is that we always let others come and vilify our terms that we use to group ourselves. And if they're able to just do that all willy-nilly, you won't have any terms. So people don't want to associate with Hotep no more, because folks want to vilify the word Hotep. It's like, no, that is a powerful greeting that the ancient Egyptians used to use. As a matter of fact, they still use a variant of that in Congo.
Hey, look, and to speak to your point too, like how you was talking about, like where else can kids who
Man,
don't
I
go to
ain't
school.
trying to hear all that, man. He drew a line in the sand, man.
But I'm saying,
He drew a
listen,
line
where
in the
else?
sand. You seen that little
No, but hold on.
man that
But just hold on.
They had a
But just
whole
hold on. Let me
orchestra
make this one statement, right? But listen, where else can you go to, right? When you talk about we look at John Henry Clark and not being able to go to some of these universities, right? Where you got people now who come in and learn the Ses Medunetta.
Exactly.
In a small community where, like, you may have to pay thousands of dollars, you know what I'm saying? But you can come here and you can get the basic, get the background, and then take it further if you want to. So you know what I mean?
But this is one of the reasons why I wanted to join this conversation, particularly, was just to introduce that text and to introduce those mandates for the Independent African Academy, so that one, I can introduce you with a new term or a new label to use if you don't want to be part of the conscious community. If what you do is part of those mandates, now you have a strict criterion to separate yourself from the loose wild west that is the conscious community.
I like
so you
that.
can say
Me
you are
too.
part of the Independent African Academy, and this is the mandates and the criteria for being in this. If we're not doing this, then you're not part of the Independent African Academy. And so now you have something strict to separate the wheat from the shaft. So that's why I wanted to introduce that.
So like Sean said, it's a line drawn in the sand. We are not a part of the conscious community. We are part of the what is it called?
Independent African.
IAA, baby.
No, you're trying to move out. That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
We were never there.
Yeah, we very honestly, we was never there. But yeah, if you want
took a look on
to, my bags is packed. my flight is booked, and I'm getting on my flight tonight.
Exactly.
I ain't gonna lie.
You still gotta leave the college community though. You still gotta leave.
Right. He leaving from somewhere.
we
Leave the flow.
we ain't leaving from nowhere.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Asar, for articulating that for me.
We was on the other side. We was on the other side of the city. We just gonna move into another state.
Y'all just moving into a gated neighborhood.
Yeah, you know, because we
seclude ourselves.
Right.
We seclude ourselves.
I gotta go. I gotta do some work, but I do appreciate y'all letting me on and sharing what I've had, and y'all continue what y'all doing. And
yeah, good, Bill. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
All right, please.
Yeah, y'all appealing to it though. Now y'all ain't got no help. What the hell y'all want to do now?
Wait a minute.
Let's
Wait a minute, Sean. Asar is the standard.
Nah.
Asar is the standard. I don't want to hear nothing.
I've been quiet.
I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing. You can't stick to that bullshit, boy. Asar, based on that definition that Asar gave,
I ain't say nothing.
Based on the definition Asar gave,
look, so
you are part of the
listen to him. Listen to him. Look at him. All three of them undisciplined ass conscious community Negro. All three of them. Damn undisciplined conscious community. What I'm talking about. This why y'all love Sarnetta right here, because this y'all used to.
Did you use the Asar standard on that? I don't want to hear that.
Look at that. You used to.
I need to see the evidence. I need to see.
Get what Asar gonna tell you. Asar gonna tell you stop appealing to authority.
Yeah, I call him the standard.
Exactly.
The standard. I like that.
hey, quit stealing my stuff. Nah, I mean, I do. I like the chart. Nah. When you go and you break it down, like that's key to. If we sit here and we define ourselves, which is the ultimate goal of it all, then yeah, we come away with something more transparent than just being labeled that. Because right now, like Kofi's argument is who's the face of it. When people outside of the community look over at us, they're only seeing one face. They don't see the multitude or the facets of people, the intellectual people that is within the community, because we're drowned out. We're not on Vlad. We're not on all these other platforms. We're not on Nick Cannon. You know what I mean? The mysticism and the metaphysical realm of the information is what's being advertised to people. You know, they're making that sexy for some reason. Pseudo and sexy seems to be the actual thing. So no, I mean, I don't have no problem with it. I already knew he had a line in the sand drawn though. I knew Asar had a line in the sand drawn because many, you know, for the last couple of years we've been talking about a line in the sand being drawn when Amara Squad got kicked out of every damn thing, you know, in 2015. You know what I'm saying? There was a line in the sand at that point because we understood that night when we all watched the bill with the Amara Squad and then the introduction of Young Pseudo and Seti. We saw that exchange, and then we saw who had information and who didn't have information, and it continued to be true from that point forward. So, you know, I just feel like what we're doing is we are representing, like I said, that we're the minority. We're the minority in this majority.
I'm glad you said that. Hey, let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think Young Pseudo is is in the conscious community?
Yeah.
Most definitely. I do.
He's the definition of
Don't make me put that video up, bro. Don't make me put the video up.
Most definitely.
But see, within that community though, it's like, you know, even though you got the negative side, it's like, yo, what I learned about, I get to learn about Egypt. I go over there with Asar and Wuja. I get to learn about West Africa. I come over there with you guys. You know what I'm saying? I learn African American history. I go over there with Rob on. See what I'm saying? So within that community, it's like a hub on religion. I go to Garfield.
You keep trying to make it a community though. You keep trying to make everybody
because if you look in the chat, there's people in the chat that you will see in the other platform. What the pseudo killers?
Ain't got nothing to do with
all in the same community.
Yep.
They ain't got nothing to do with what our identity is.
You're interested in learning metaphysics.
No. I like how he gave
You're
that
interested
framework.
in
though.
metaphysics.
Son.
He gave y'all a model though. Understand? They gave y'all a
Yes.
model.
Yeah.
He gave y'all a framework to build this separation and to make these distinctions. You know what I'm saying? That's what I.
Oh, go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
He said, y'all, you
That's all
saying
right.
y'all like you ain't a part of it. You said y'all like you ain't a
There
part
you
of it.
go. I'm just saying that was your argument. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know what you
I had
said.
a completely different.
Nah,
I
it's 3 on 3
agree
right
with
now. We
certain
head up.
aspects,
It's
but
3 on 3 right
my
now.
whole
Hold
thing
on, let
was
Travis talk.
at the beginning of that argument. My whole thing was basically the same. The way he defined it and articulated what it was
wasn't.
just what I said. All right,
No, it wasn't.
all right.
He
It's
showed the
cool.
split.
It was
It was
what I
broad,
was saying. It was
Wasn't
that
that?
because
and that's why I agree with y'all. I said it's broad. It's
Nah,
a
it wasn't
broad
what you were saying
definition, but
either.
that's how
It
you
wasn't
get
what you were saying
generalized.
either.
Because the same names he had on there was the same. I said Bobby Hemmett. I said
I don't agree with neither
it
one of
was
y'all.
different. Hold on, wait a minute. I said it was different sets. I said you had your John Henry Clarkson, then I said you had your Bobby Hibbs and this, but it's all in the
All
same
in the
community.
community. Yeah, all in the community.
Y'all going back. We talking about this generation of the conscious community.
It's all the same. It's no different.
We ain't in no damn community.
No, it ain't.
Because we all doing the same thing, like I said.
Okay, so,
Even when you
okay.
tell
So
IAAA,
what,
all you doing
what
is
do we
setting
have
up.
in common? If it's all the same, what do we have
The
in common?
dissemination of
What
information.
are
Now,
commonalities?
whether that the information is pseudo or not,
How?
that's
Yeah,
where the line is drawn. You
yeah,
know what
because
I'm
you
saying?
still have people who teach history. You still have people who are
How?
learn.
How?
You still have people who got
How is that
one
history?
for the university. You still got your Delbert Blairs. You got your young Pharaoh. You got your Phil Valentine. You still got that. All you got. You got your Dr. Inky from your Layla Africa. Like it's still a still the
So
same.
misinformation
characters.
versus
Hold on. Let me make myself
information
clear.
versus misinformation.
Let me make myself clear. I need to make myself clear. Hold on. I want you to keep that same energy. Keep talking. But I'm gonna make myself clear real quick. Keep talking though. Don't stop the talking. Just give me a second. No. I want y'all to keep. I gotta grab something real quick. I gotta grab something. Go ahead. Keep
Conscious
talking.
back then is different than what we use conscious for today.
Yeah,
So that's why I said y'all talking about the past generation. We talking about right now.
I'm talking about the community. Forget about who was right and exact. I'm talking about what the community looked like in general.
I'm not no community with those guys.
Yeah, you on the other side.
You
Yeah, I'm on the other side.
do you not associate with the Moors and argue and debate the Moors?
Do I associate with them? No. Do I correct their misinformation? Yes.
You conversate with them, you debate them, you try to. You know what I'm saying? Like because you would if you weren't in the community, you wouldn't see them.
Right. I ain't know what a motherfucking war was. Hold on,
Me
I didn't know what
I just found out what
war was
5 years
until
ago,
I
bro.
started seeing Teddy and like I didn't know what none of that shit was, bro. I was selling dope and all that, like, bro. I didn't know what none of that shit was until I stepped over here.
My nigga, when I saw it on Sonetta, right? I thought it was just a few niggas on 125th. I didn't know it was like multiple sets. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what is? I didn't even know what. I was like, yo, what the hell is this shit?
Okay, so y'all proving my point when the source said the conscious community is essentially the black community. I disagree because most of the black community don't know nothing about none of these people.
That's not what he said. He said it's a loose community of people searching for information. It's a broad definition, and it's going to include everybody because it's a sociological dynamic to it. You know what I'm saying?
Let me rewind this video.
Yep. You right.
Yeah, like I said, but listen, just like how he was saying, he didn't know about them. I didn't know about the Moors, right? And then when I came into the community, I learned about the Moors. I learned about I had already had an understanding of Nuwapians. You know what I'm saying? But then I got, you know what I'm saying? So then I got Kemet. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even saying Kemet till I came into the community. Right. I'd have been Egypt and shit like that. But now I'm saying Kemet. I know what because now I'm into the community and I know people within the community.
Yeah. He said I'm Don Lemon. Who is Don Lemon?
Don Lemon? Yeah, all right. So here we go. So here we go. So here we go.
Yeah, it's crazy niggas in the college community. Yeah, you right. You got it. You got it.
Nah, I don't need you to talk. I need you to be quiet right now. I need you to be quiet right now.
Waka Flocka, right? The rapper, right? FaceTime, right?
Thank
I
you.
just told Waka Flocka. Waka Flocka just told me he believed in aliens, right? I just told Waka Flocka I shot a motherfucker in his head 10 times. Didn't I? Yeah, I did. I told him that. I told him that.
LGBTQ.
And I told him I
ain't
shot him
no
in the face with the shot. I told him that. Didn't I tell him that? No games. No games. No games.
That figure's high. That figure's high.
Gang! Didn't I tell him that? Nah.
You just trying to eat her food.
That nigga's on. He's hot.
This shit real. I used to be low feet from Guilford and Shadyville. 402 niggas. Now I'm back. Now I'm back. Listen, white people back here raping these kids. And they back here fucking these kids up. And they lying about it on the news. But the white people I'm around right now, they good. They good. But I'm calling all black people up here right now, the 2114 Wild Doe Circle, Katy, Texas. 77450. If you black, come to look, wait a minute. Sorry, excuse me. If you black, come to my house right now. This shit is not as real. This shit real, right? This shit real, right? This shit real. Listen. Look. Let me show y'all how real this shit is. Let me show y'all how real this shit is. Do you trust me with your life? Are you afraid of me? Look, y'all. This shit real. Put this bitch on the news. This is my house. I own all this shit. Put this shit on the news. I'll pull my dick out on this motherfucker. Put this shit on the news. White people back here raping these kids. Not the ones that I'm around. I need everybody at 2114 Wild Doom Circle. Now I'm scared for my motherfucking life. Bitch, I'm afraid for my life. I got a knife. I don't got my gun. My bodyguard took my gun. My bodyguard, H.A. Room, he took my gun last night. Now, I don't know if it was for the better or for worse, but I looked that man in his eyes, and I told him I trusted him with my life. Didn't I? Told him I trusted him with my life. And I've done nothing but right by that man, but I ain't got no gun. So everybody come here, he will confirm I don't got a gun because he took the motherfucker and it was his gun. I don't carry no gun. It's his gun. It was to protect myself. All I got is a knife. Don't come here on no bullshit. Call me before you come. And wait. This is who I want to come to my house. Let me be specific. This is who I want to come to my house. I'm not moving. I want Waka Flocka to come to my house. And I want Waka Flocka to bring whoever he trusts with him to my house.
Wow, Waka Flocka.
That's who I want to come first. Flocka. That's who I want to come first. Now, let's do it.
Hey, that nigga told on himself.
So that's consciousness right there.
Hold on. Y'all trying to say that we in the same community.
Yeah.
Man, that nigga just came on the scene, man. Like, y'all acting like this dude ain't.
What he did.
Man,
hold on. What did
the
Asar say? What did Asar say though? He said, in the community, you still live in a community with the robbers and the killers, bro. All of them is still in the goddamn community.
Dolphins and all that. They're part of the community. Just because, you know what I'm saying, they smoke dope, that don't make them a part of the community.
You can't do
conscious dope fiends. You got conscious dope fiends.
Nah, it just they're just in the community. You got
all
bad
kinds of
elements.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Bad elements within the community.
So it's a church. So it's a church. So it's a church. It's just like the church then. It ain't no different.
What?
No, it's bigger than the church.
So it's the
community.
It's a sociological grouping, bro.
The church is just in the community. It's bigger than the church, bro. The church is just a segment of the community.
So Sar said the whole community is the conscious community is the black community.
Asar said it's the loose.
Hold on. Just listen.
We got the playback.
Belong to the conscious community.
Yeah.
And I
Thank
say
you,
that.
Asar. Thank you. Thank you.
I say that.
Okay, damn it. I still y'all agree. Y'all gonna sit there and all the methodology of I disagree too.
Hold on, let me go back.
Yeah, I'm about to say you ain't playing that.
So I'm not really opposed to the term conscious community, and I belong to the conscious community.
Hold on, let me get my
let me get my
stuff together. Hold on.
Yeah, man, get it together, Sutek, man. You tripping, dog. You
Trust me, I got it though, because I just played it. I just heard it. Hold on.
Yeah, but he's not saying
all
every
I know
black
is
person in the world.
y'all co-signing that dude behavior. We just saw a total nut in a video. Somebody,
Wait a minute, how are you equating?
Man,
no.
Community
you co-signed
based on a behavior. What metrics are you? Wait a minute.
That's conscious community. That's conscious community.
It's crazy people. It's people with mental that's mentally disturbed in the conscious community, right or not? Right or wrong?
Conscious community. That's conscious community.
Chavis, don't argue with him because the song is the standard. We won.
Yeah.
That's
fact.
He did right there.
That's
he can't go no further past that. He can't go no further past that.
Chavis,
you're right.
Roll you one of them things up and sit back,
And
man. We won.
That's word to any arrest.
We won.
Shit.
So said shit. He said that's word to any arrest.
Asar is the standard.
I can't get around that statement, huh? I can't get around that statement. I made it.
Ain't nothing else need to be said, Chavis. Don't even get your blood pressure up, man.
You right. I ain't saying no more. That's it. We done right
I'm about to delete the standard video.
Get that shirt. Make that shirt, Kofi. Get that standard shirt.
Y'all can't appeal to a star, man.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Wait a minute. If he the standard.
Hey, Sean said that. This Sutek.
Okay,
yeah, I understand Kofi. He want to build a gate, and he want to have a gate code.
We ain't gotta build no gate. We ain't gotta build no gate. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, but I want to because like I'm on the.
Nah, Kofi, don't let them say you're gonna build a gate. That means we already in the community.
I mean, bro, that's why I'm quiet because I mean it just ain't no way. No matter what we say, and we're not gonna change people's mind. And then. People gonna look at it like we in the conscious community. That is the reason why I threw that in there too. I'm gonna tell you, like I get like no BS, bro. I get people that text me like when we ship off stuff. I call people. I ask them did they get their product, blase, this and that. I email people, or people just hit me up. Like, and the other day, you know what I'm saying? And it's not the first person done actually text me and told me to call them. And every time I get an email, every time I get a text from somebody and they be like, call me, or even if we just communicate through a text or we communicate via email or via Facebook message, you know, they always asserting us with the conscious community and they're asking me things about what's going on in the community. And like, I tell them some things I don't know. And then, or they ask me to reach out to this person and that person because you know I act totally opposite than the people in the conscious community, even though they say I'm a part of the conscious community. And the other day, I had a conversation with somebody, a brother. I'm trying to bring him on. He's from Haiti, but he stays in Florida. Smart brother, and hopefully we're gonna do some business with this brother as far as with the coloring books, as far as trying to help those children out in Haiti. But hopefully that'll show come soon. I just gotta get the brother out of his shell and get him on the show so he can talk about what he's a part of with over there in Haiti. But the conversation that we had it's the ongoing conversation that I have about the blatant disrespect of people that's supposed to be leaders in the community, the blatant disrespect of people taking their money and not doing nothing with the money that they say. People are asking money so they can do this. People are asking money so they can do that. People are asking money to support this, and this is what they're going to get in return for their money. So people, and I believe in an equal exchange, reciprocation. So if I do something, I'm definitely going to reciprocate that back what you gave me, no matter what it is. So this brother had some issues, and he was telling me about a dude I don't even fool with, and he was talking about the scamming and the money that has been donated. Even the numbers are reaching out to this person and that person, and one of the, and this person and that person. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna say their names, but they some highly respected brothers in the so-called conscious community. I tell them I don't have a relationship with these guys. I don't consider myself a part of the conscious community. And if you go and look at any of their video on their platform, I ain't not me or anybody associated with Kofi Piesie Research Team, Master Warrior Clan. Is not a part. It has not been on the platform. So I can't go out and reach to that and tell them to give you your money back, or produce what they say, or give you what they told you they was gonna give you in return, in exchange for your money. But this is not the first time that I hear things like that. Y'all some pretty honest brothers, but this, that, and the third. And even with us saying that, okay, we got multiple people, like people that's coming into the community, they don't know that. They don't know that. Like I'm saying, the face of the community, like, I think I heard a source say that there's no leader in the conscious community. I disagree with that, far as when I'm saying the face, because anytime I mention the conscious community, this person's name is always coming up. So he's the face of the conscious community. He's the face of the conscious community. And so when people look at this, yes, so and he has one of the biggest platforms. So when people look at this platform, and this is the standard that they are going to go. This is the standard that they're going to go by. Then they're going to get confused. Like I thought, because I'm just like me. When I come into the conscious community, what I thought the conscious community was is something totally different than from where I come from. But the conscious community is the same thing, like we just talked about. Talking about. You go out, you see drug dealers, you see killers, you see scammers, you see robbers, you see the honest working man, you see so but I'm thinking that the conscious community was something different than that, because the way of how they portray things and some of the mantras that they speak, you know what I'm saying, on a day-to-day basis. So when I see what they are teaching, their teaching is not in line with what they're saying. They teaching, but what I'm saying is they're not applying the application. So what they're teaching, you're not seeing and applied in their everyday life. So I'm thinking when I got in the conscious community, it was going to be about brotherhood. It was going to be about sisterhood. It's no longer about that negative stuff. It's about unity. It's about progression. It's about moving forward. It's about positioning ourselves in a position of power. It's about education. It's about you know what I'm saying? So many different things that I can say, but it's none of those things when we look and from that platform sprung many platforms that has set that same standard. So most of the people, like we in it, like we've been in it, like I said, I've been in it since 2000. Some of us been in it, so involved in the conscious community 5, 6, 10, 20 years, been involved into the conscious community. But people coming in, people are going to be confused. And then people are going to think that is the standard to regurgitate misinformation or to make up stuff on the spot. Or you don't have to read, like you got people critiquing books, ain't even read books.
That's like in the community though. It depends on where you move into in the community. If you pull in at Armor Rock Squad or something like that, you're gonna be more sound and right where you need to go. But if you pull up at another house, at somebody else's house, you're gonna be with it, with the scammers and stuff at, bro. But it all depends on where you land within the community, though.
So how can that be the same community then?
It's because
Because it's a loose population of people disseminating information.
Yeah,
it's a lot of people disseminating information, but that don't mean they in the conscious community.
But
I'm saying, based on how he defined it, that is basically what it is.
So you saying we're in the subdivision where we're in the subdivision where life is just a little bit more smoother for us because we know how to apply the rigorous research.
Hey man, what else are I say?
Just like we.
What else are I say?
Yeah,
I'm asking.
I don't care when you go to some neighborhoods.
But I agree with him.
The conscious community is the black community.
Yeah, but then then within that community, you got brothers that come in who want to do right, but then you got some brothers that coming in from the streets, or some people get power and power corrupts. Some people the fame, ego corrupts. You know what I mean? So you still got the human element work that what I'm saying interwoven. Some people got bad information. Some people get misled. You know what I mean? Some people some people are extra religious, won't let go. I mean, there's a lot of dynamics going on within that community. You feel me? I mean, it's gonna be like
all these people are in the conscious community, correct?
Exactly. The conscious community is just the black community.
Thank you.
What did he say?
It's like saying the hip hop.
All these people are in the conscious community, correct?
Yeah, because the conscious community is just the black community.
All right, okay.
It's like
I was just making sure we heard that. So he said the conscious community is just the black community. So do y'all agree with that?
Yeah. He said but he compared it to Black Twitter.
Do you agree with the statement?
Yes, but you got to get
black
community. And he said it's just like Black Twitter. I agree with the statement.
So the conscious community is the black.
It depends on the context. Like
you got to take the
social media, but
now we got context and now we got
context, subtext, pretext.
It's sociology. If you're gonna deal with sociological ideas, you got to deal with
David Icke, a part of the conscious community. So is David Icke a part of the conscious community? What about Leo Weiner? What about Leo Weiner? Is he a part of the conscious community?
He was a part of the academic.
What I'm about to do now is I'm about to go pull all the pseudos out. And then okay, I'm gonna pull all the pseudos out.
Just because somebody
no, don't move it.
No, just because somebody gets a book from somebody that's in Paris, that doesn't mean they're part of the community.
But this is the source of the information that's in the community.
Yeah, but that don't mean they themselves. But that don't mean he himself is in the community.
Right.
Madame Blavatsky is the what? What is she to the
She's not
community?
in the community. Like now you tripping.
Her information is in the community.
Everything in the community.
What?
Everything in the community, spiritualist, stems from Madame Blavatsky.
Hey man, he had a whole model. Sorry, had a whole model up there, man.
The mother. No. She's the mother. If y'all arguing against that, then that would be disingenuous because you know the root, the source of the misinformation.
Minute. How are you gonna say she's the mother and then completely ignore the first conscious community? How do you do that?
She's the mother.
How do you ignore the first conscious community
right now
and then make her the mother of it? I don't understand that.
There you go, Chavis.
She's the mother of what y'all talking about right now. She had nothing to do.
Wait a minute.
She had nothing to do.
No, we're talking about the conscious community, right?
She's the mother of the information that's in the community right now. Why are you running backwards?
Who running backwards?
That means that somebody in the community got her information and brought her information into the community, but she is not a part of the community.
No,
she don't live here.
Nope. She lives in the community.
I ain't see her on Signetter.
You ain't got to. Her information is living through the people you've seen on Signetter.
So she the same as Kofi Piesie Research Team.
You was big on SETI. She was all in SETI information. Her and Gerald Massey.
Was she on SETI video?
Her and Gerald Massey.
Hold on, he was refuting her work. He wasn't agreeing.
No,
with her
he
shit.
never refuted. No, he never have. He promoted her work. He promoted her work. SETI promoted Madame Blavatsky. He didn't. SETI promoted.
Why ain't gonna argue that shit? Because I don't care about it.
Don't let him. He tried to.
Yeah. You're not about to move.
He never.
Hey, if he did.
You know, chicken.
So goddamn what?
He used Kofi. You hear him running, right? Kofi. You hear him running, right? They running, ain't they?
Running.
Madam
Wait,
Blavatsky
are
is the
you a
master
part of the
teacher
first conscious
of the
community?
black
Do you
community.
associate with the first conscious community or not, sir?
She is the master teacher of
But we
the
talking about
conscious
this conscious
community.
community.
Oh,
Accept
you ain't
her.
answered that question. All
Accept
right.
her.
Right.
Now you can't
Independent
accept her.
African
You're mo-
Academy.
Who running now? Who running now?
Independent
running.
African Academy.
You're running. You're
I like
running.
that. We can run that too, Kofi.
Yeah,
But see,
that's
Kofi,
where I'm at with it.
but see, Kofi, look. But see, a lot of us see it like you the guy, right? Where like you see, you go to Unk House, I'm a Raw Squad, and you go to Saw Crib and shit like that. But those are just the only cribs you go to in the community. Like some of us go downtown, Sonetta Crib, and then some of us will go over to where the Moors at. But
Yeah, you right though. You right. Kofi don't stop over some people crib, but some niggas he don't fuck with. Like that. So he not going over there.
You don't go over there.
I get it.
That's any community. That's any community. They do the same thing, right?
No. Chief Keef is a part of the conscious community.
I live in Acres Home. Just because I don't support people selling dope in Acres Home, or I don't support smoking crack, that don't, you know what I'm saying? I can't disassociate myself from Acres Home. You know what I'm saying? I can't, because the shit going on in Studewood, you still a part of that community.
No.
Hey, listen, man. You can make all the excuses you want with it. I will not name all the master teachers in the conscious community that you serve and protect.
Which one, sir? You keep on using that term. Which one? Which one are you talking about?
I was very specific.
We gotta be specific here, because you made a whole. You made a whole position about separating yourself from.
I didn't say nobody else. I said you.
Right?
I said you. I was clear.
What?
You.
What?
You.
What about it? What about me?
You. The one you serve and protect is
I'm protecting.
No,
which
I ain't
one?
saying none of that. I don't care about no fat ass.
Which one? The first one or the second one?
You.
I'm protecting
African Bambaataa. You. Polite.
The first
you.
one. Is that in the first one?
York.
You. Is that in the first one?
Nah,
York. You.
Oh, okay. I just want to know.
Hell no, I ain't got nothing to do with it. So it's the one you. I said the one you serve. So again, York. You.
Wait a minute. So what
you,
what evidence do you have to support this statement about who I am serving, sir?
No.
Provide.
You got to take all that. You got to take the good and the bad. You got to take the good and the bad. Nah. You got to take the good and the bad.
He out here being persuasive, playing his game. He's psychological.
No, I ain't being persuasive.
He's been dealing with Wu too much.
Persuasive.
Wait a minute.
No.
Watch him, man. He's trying to play his game.
Nope. What's the dude name? Hassan Campbell. That's part of your people. Them your people.
That's part of the community. Yes. Of the community. Yes.
No. Your people. We being
Do I associate with him? Do I watch his channel? Am I subscribed? No, sir. No, sir.
I was glad when y'all came to the community, Sean. I was glad when y'all moved to the community, Sean. It gave me an area to come and hang out and shit, chill out. Get that West African shit. Kofi invited me over to do my little Geechee color thing and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? Like, I liked it when y'all came in, bro. Like,
you must have got lost.
Yeah, he got lost. Yeah, he got lost.
You took a wrong turn somewhere. Took a wrong turn.
Yeah, hey, Sutek, I remember when you moved in.
Yeah, I said, give me the house away from him.
Yeah, I saw, Sean was helping you unload stuff. I'm like, who that is? That's the boy Sutek. I'm like, all right, that was up.
Yo, my auntie just sent me a picture, yo, from like my high school, yo. Ah, man, she killed me. She killed me, bro. I can't even let y'all see this. She killed me.
But all jokes aside, though, Kofi, I get what you were saying, though. Like, I get y'all's position. I'm not opposing y'all's position, because even Asar said it. Like, but at the same time, you know, I'm seeing it at a different perspective than y'all is. But I definitely understand where y'all coming from. Y'all like, I don't want to associate myself with misinformation, even if you know we talking to the same people. So I get what y'all saying, man, but I just feel like we
And
all
those people that
Kofi, Kofi like I know the nigga, but I don't know the nigga. You know what I'm saying? I know the nigga, but I don't know the nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know of the nigga.
Yeah, I heard. You know what I'm saying? My people who mess with that nigga.
I heard about him on the street. You know?
Yeah. I feel. I feel.
It's like the song said, bro. It's a separation between that what he called the metaphysical community. That's what I'm calling. I'm gonna speak for myself. That's what I'm calling the conscious community because they use that term. Those people on the other side do not use that term.
Yeah, I agree. We should separate. You know what I'm saying, and establish.
It ain't no should. It's already a separation.
But we
kicked us out because we ain't esoteric.
Yeah, and like Sean
said, they don't say consider us a part of them.
Yeah, Unc drew a line in the sand, man. That was a good. That's right. Like that shit happened at that moment. Like we drew a line in the sand. It's like we over here. Y'all can stay over there with that bullshit. Like
but he still knows some niggas over there, so he go over there from time to time, chop it up with him. Cause
I don't like that, though, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I don't like that. Bro, I don't like
that's just visiting. Like,
why you don't like it?
I don't like it because, like,
I argued with him last night about it.
Yeah, I don't like that because, like, if you gonna draw the sand, you're gonna draw the line in the sand. Then draw the line in the sand. You're gonna have to be on one side, bro. That you when you saying you drawing a line in the sand, you know what I'm saying? You drawing that line. You either on this side or you on the other side. You know, it's no way in between. It's either the illiterate, it's either the literate side or the illiterate side. So
I like that, Kofi.
And I'm saying I don't. And even with the illiterate side, like they don't. You know, they like Sutek said, man, they don't want us over there with them. They don't want us over there with them because we critical thinkers. So anytime we say anything about misinformation, we being attacked.
Yeah,
we being attacked. They don't want us to associate. They want us to be over there. They want us to agree with everything that's coming out of these people's mouths, these makeup artists. They want us to be over there and let the people cheat. Let them cheat the people and us turn a blind eye to it. We didn't get cheated, so we ain't worried about it. And then even with that, with some of the people, like you said, the other buildings. Those other buildings the illiterate buildings don't support the literate buildings. Some of them do because before the line was drawn in the sand, some of them have relationships with, and do business with the in the other buildings, the illiterate buildings. But the other ones, they don't support us. They don't support us in no form of fashion. None. And even if they did, I still wouldn't consider myself a part of them, and I still wouldn't turn a blind eye and condone some of the things that is going on over there. And then like this week, bro, we is looking crazy. If you're gonna say we're poor, man, we is looking crazy out here. And like I'm saying, and no BS, bro, I be getting texts and calls, and people be wanting me to reach out to these people. Man, I have no association with these people. I don't speak to these people, and they calling me. And that's what I'm saying. I don't want to be a part of that or us a part of it, because what I'm saying is, like, we not only are on here, you know what I'm saying, where we give you interviews, we give you educational interviews. We come on here and we teach, we give you presentations. We come in here and we give you open bills. We get on here and we talk about scientific literacy. It's
a nice neighborhood. That's a fact.
Right. So it just damn, I done lost my train of thought what I was gonna say, man. But I'm just saying.
You're just saying, like, y'all, saying you do it different. You do it a lot different than how they, how they do it over there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change the topic real quick, and I'm gonna bring it right back. So a Florida mother and daughter, both unvaccinated school workers, they died of COVID. They caught it and extracted in the school in Florida. So in Miami, they were working in the school, got sick, and they never made it up out of there, both of them. So I wanted to say that real quick. But back to the point, You know what I'm saying? Me and Sutek, we
That's your
selling
one article
money
for the day,
crystals.
Sean. You crazy, man.
We selling money crystals right now.
Yeah, man, we got the
Sean,
Yes,
how
extra
you
sir.
on
kit.
COVID updated the damn shit?
Oh yeah. I was saying all that to say that like you know, with us doing that, not only we doing that, we also trying to be businessmen in the process too. Are we trying to do exactly what the first conscious community did, and then what those individuals that Asar, Sean, myself, and others named, you know what I'm saying, by producing things for the people. You know what I'm saying? Producing, these people are gone, but they are still living through us because we are still saying their names. We are still referring to their works. We are going back to their works. We're building on our works, and their works have impacted everybody. No one on this panel can say that some of the ancestors that produced things have impacted their life in a positive manner. So when we're trying to do the same thing by producing books, producing educational cars, or educational board games, and you know what I'm saying, or we're trying to establish an apparel company that is created for designs that represents us as a people. That associating with them makes it hard for us, because people will start lumping us in the same thing. And to be honest, with our first publication, or our second publication, something happened where people thought we was gonna do the same thing. People thought we was gonna do the same thing, run off with the money. I mean, it's just so many different things. So when you associate yourself with these people, and then like I'm saying, when you associate with these different platforms or whatever, people tends to say that we all lump us in and say that we all the same, and then it may affect us on the back end when all we trying to do is, we're not on here. We don't have a super chat up, and I'm not knocking nobody that's got a super chat that's getting money. Get your money if you because sometimes if you should get it. I'm not saying you shouldn't get paid. You should get paid if you up all night researching. If you up all night putting in 10,000 hours, you know what I'm saying, you should get paid. At some standpoint, you should get some. You should get paid for your time. Your time. I agree. With that. But I'm saying we're not asking nobody for donations. We're not even. We don't have a super chat up. We not doing certain things and say, well, hey, let's get your money and then we're gonna give you this later on the back end. No, we're not doing it. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing that. We doing something, and then we say, hey, look, we did this, we put this, that, and the third out. This is not for it's not for our benefit, it's for our benefit as a whole. Not our benefit, for a benefit as a whole. Because people want this type of information. So we're going to give you this information, and you can go back and refer to this information. And then this information, these publications that we give you, they're sourced up. You can actually go back, compare and contrast the sources that we have. You can go collect these sources. You can go do your own, you can go do your own research. We're trying to show you how to, research. What is the steps to, the research. So we're just totally different than them other people, and it get frustrating when people lump us in with these other individuals who are only just out for self-gain. They not for nobody but for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just not, and and people can say differently, but like I said, from 2012 to 2020, I had seen nothing different. I hadn't seen nothing different.
Hey, but a lot of that stigma, Kofi, too, comes with not necessarily the community, but also with pro-blackness, man. You got a lot of it's got a bad stigma to go with it, man. You got you know what I mean, where you got your Ubar, you got people who's representing for my people, I love my people, and they're taking, you know what I'm saying, they're taking all these money from these people and not giving them anything. You see what I'm saying? So after a while, when so many people come wrong saying, listen, I'm doing this for my people, I'm doing this for my people, and then they ask you to contribute and they keep getting, you know what I mean, scammed with the same guys. I love my people. After a while, they're gonna be like, man, look, I heard this from the last dude. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's just heartbreaking to me because I was one of those guys, man. I'm gonna tell you, 2013 to 2015, bro, I got took a lot because I believed in a lot of these people, man, and I donated to the cause because I feel like if these people, I believe in what they got going on. I believe in their campaign. I believe they for people that look just like me. I believe whatever they gonna do is not only gonna benefit me, but it's gonna benefit everybody. You know what I'm saying? So, and I got took, you know what I'm saying, being naive, and I just feel hurt. The same thing is continually going on where these people is still hurt. Like I had a conversation, like I said the other day, and I'm not gonna say the brother name, and just a conversation that I had, and this brother was running down a list of what they did and what the person promised, and even them reaching out and no response, man, no response back. Them two responded when you don't want the money, but then when you got the money and nothing came after that, there's no response. Like, and I'm like, brother, ain't nothing I can do about that.
Cause you like, I know the dude, but I don't know the dude.
You're
like,
right, I know the dude, but I don't know the dude, man.
And they feel like, yeah, you talking that, you know the nigga.
Yeah, you know the nigga.
Like,
yeah,
you understand? Like,
yeah, you know him. You're like, you know him. You in the conscious community. You know him. But ain't nothing I can do. You know, it's really nothing I can do, man. So
yeah, I feel that. No, I feel that.
Kofi still mad about buying them books from like
I ain't well, you know that one too. You know that one too. And I ain't trying to. Hey,
you got one of the books, Kofi? You got one?
I got two. I got two of his books. I got two of his books. This
Which
one
one?
he had.
Which one?
I can't remember, man, which one I got.
Shit.
And I had to go back there and dig them up out of the shelf.
They might be worth something.
And I bought them in 2013. He had the I don't know if he still got the store, but he had the 2012 store.
Nah,
97 more to go.
Yeah, and I didn't see 100 books on the store, but he had a few books on the store, and I actually contributed to. I'll be honest. I bought one, and I'll be honest. I paid the second book. I paid quite a penny for, and that was the book that he put out. I think it was after a debate that he did. I can't remember the debate that he did, but it was something surrounding Kemet. I don't know if it was a book that he did after the Hebrew brother that that was associated with Zion Lex, but I don't know because I don't know. I just hearsay. I don't know that
Mighty Hebrew.
No. The other he stay out in Atlanta, but I heard he had moved, but he was a pedophile or he raped a little. I don't know.
That was a Mighty Hebrew. Yeah.
No, not the Mighty Hebrew. What the Mighty Hebrew? It was
another one.
Nazi Yasserville.
And I think he put a book after that one, or it was the one after the one with Tazaria. I can't remember. And that book was damn near $100 and some. And I know with both of them, you know, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone because I'm not gonna do like with everybody. I know right now the topic is bash.
I mean, if it's facts, it's facts, Kofi.
Right.
Like,
facts is facts, but I don't like kicking a man when a man is already, when a man is already down. I just don't like, I just don't like kicking. I don't condone anything that he has done in the past. And I definitely don't condone anything that if allegedly he done, because I don't know. Like I said, a lot of these stations I don't even look at, but I just see it on Facebook. I see people are sharing these shows over and over. I mean, it's probably about 20 or 30 different platforms with that brother name in the title, and a lot of it is these people is wanting views. These people is wanting the super chat hit. You know what I'm saying? They don't want the actual proof. You know what I'm saying? They don't actually, they're not actually want to talk about the victim or the victim money. They don't want to talk about how can we stop people from coming in the community committing these horrendous crimes, or even setting some type of code up or some type of code of ethics up, and some people to enforce these codes of ethics. If we see you constantly in these other platforms, we have people that can come out and regulate this. Nobody's talking about none of this. So I'm not gonna kick the man when the man is down, and I'm definitely not condoning anything that he has done. So I'm letting that be known right now.
I feel
So
that.
I'll
I'll kick him for you. You ain't
I'm gonna wait till I get all the facts before I do my kicking. But if need be, I'm gonna definitely do some stomping.
Yeah, I'll kick in advance. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Sometimes you got to kick it wrong. Sometimes wrong people get kicked. It's all, it's what it is. What it is.
I got the whole set. What do you mean? What you mean? Google Scholar. Got you.
So he's telling me I got the whole set of polite books.
Oh no, I ain't got the whole set. Now they say he wrote 100 books. I ain't seen it, but they say he wrote 100 books. I got 2, but this, and to take in mind, this was in 2013.
12 pages a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do not rely on Kofi to advise you to get any kind of goddamn book.
How many pages? How many pages though? How many pages?
I know one of the books. I think it was. I'm gonna say about 80 pages in the first book,
okay.
And I'm gonna say about in the second book I'm gonna say maybe 150, 200 pages. Maybe I can't remember. Maybe I think it's maybe closer to around.
Was it pictures in the book?
Was it a lot of pictures?
Nah, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was some pictures in. It's.
No. Hold on, Kofi.
I'm gonna say half. I'm gonna say
how was
half.
the book? How was the book formatted, Kofi? Was the book formatted where it's like a little bitty book, or was it like a 6x9?
The first one was a 6x9. The other one was a pretty thick book. I think it was like an 8x5 by 11. I think it was.
Oh, okay.
I know the second one wasn't the first one was definitely a 6x9, but the second one, I think it was like an 8x5 by.
Okay. What was the name of the book, and what was some of the chapters in the book?
Brother, I never read the one that he talked about.
Get you a copy of it, Sean. It sounds like you really interested in
it. But the first one I definitely did read. But you have this is okay, and this is what I have to tell. This, Sean.
Oh, he read a polite book. He read a polite book.
Yes. Yeah, listen. Sean gets on me all the time. You know what I'm saying about this, but like I told
Pseudo,
Sean, no.
Do not recommend.
Sean.
Don't recommend.
Sean is privileged. Sean, okay. When I'm saying about Sean is privileged is,
I
didn't have the same opportunity Sean have coming in. I'm gonna tell you, 2012. I come into the community. I was highly into Christianity.
Strike up the sorry music.
I could quote all type of stuff in the Bible, right? I can break down stuff in the Bible. Boom, 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 right?
For real?
Me having a conversation.
Can you do it now?
Hold on. No. I can with some. I can hold my own. I guarantee somebody come in here and try to have a conversation with me and think they're gonna get a one-up on me because they think I don't know the book. That's a lie. Even
hold on, tell them your dad is a pastor.
My dad is a preacher. And right. even with the Quran, I've never been a Muslim, but I can go pull out 2 or 3 different Qurans. I even was trying to learn the Arabic at one time. I have a Quran, one side in English, one side with Arabic on it. But anyway, what I'm saying is when I came in, I got the first person I got tuned on to was tuned into was damn bro, I'm tired. What's with the ponytail? Shaka. And Shaka. Somebody sent me Shaka Upmost video, right? So I looked at one of
the music video.
No, it wasn't a music video. It was a video where he was he might have
breaking
been
down a Wikipedia article.
I don't know. So anyway, I actually looked him up again because somebody sent me the video. So I looked up something else and saw Netta's TV popped up. So he was on Sarnetta, and he was talking on Sarnetta's TV. So from Shaka, I got introduced to Sarnetta TV. So every day from late 2012 all the way up until 2015. Well, I'm gonna say I was every day. I didn't watch cable TV. I watched Sarnetta TV every day. Every single day, all day, every day. I watched it. And
now, Kofi, let me ask you a question. Did you feel like you was part of the conscious community?
I did until I
hold
on. I did until until I started learning. And before I started learning, but even going back to that, there was no people doing sources. So I was just buying books just to be buying books. So I bought all types of books. So I had no guidance. I had nobody to tell me to go research this brother, that, and the third. I had nobody to tell me or show me what proper research methodology was.
But Sean come in.
So that's my fault.
No. Sean come in.
That's my fault. That's my fault.
Late 2015, early 2016. He come in with the set you my ID.
It's my fault.
I had no guidance, none. I was on my own, and then I was and even with the platform I was looking at, there was no sources. Nobody. The only person at that time that was actually giving you books was Shaka. Shaka. When I mean plethora of books, I'm not gonna say during that period there wasn't people that might have pulled up a book or two, and they did, and I bought the book, just taking them on face value because they was on Sarnetta TV. So I'm taking these people on face value because I'm just getting in. So I'm trying to find my way. So that I believe I'm finding my way by looking at his platform. And I'm looking at all these brothers that come on, and I'm doing exactly what other people do that come in the community. They do the same thing that they chastise the church for. We come in, and I come in, most of the people that goes to church does not go back and verify what the preacher is saying. They repeat what the preacher is saying. My pastor said, Reverend such and such said such and such, and they regurgitate what their pastor or their reverend or their imam is saying. That's what they're doing. They're not going back and verifying it. So that's what I began to do. And even the people that's in the conscious community in 2021 is doing the same thing. That's why every time something is being debunked or refuted, next year you got a new person coming out that's on the scene regurgitating some of that same misinformation because they're coming in, they're trying to find their way. They just left the church, they just left the mosque, they just left the synagogue, so they're applying the same methods they have into what we call it the conscious community. So they find somebody that is charismatic, somebody that is consistent, that goes live all the time, and then they sound good, they use big words, they say things that we never heard of, so we take them on face value, man. We take them on face value, and then we regurgitate.
And because they say, I love my people.
Right.
And you think he ain't gonna do me wrong. He love black people. All black people.
Till I was like that too till I got my feelings hurt. I'll tell you this, and I got my feelings hurt. Like everything that I did, and no slight, and I'm gonna say no slight because Sarnetta TV directed me to some other people. I don't watch his channel. At 2016, I was still watching it, but I only watched it with certain people. If Unc came on, I watched it. If Dr. Oyama came on, I watched it. If Sinjetti came on, I watched it. If Sar came on, I watched it. At one particular time, I liked it, Dr. Reggie, till he hurt my feelings. Like a lot of these people, once you get to know these people, they not who they say they not who they not who you think you is. Even in that, but before that, I got my feelings hurt by Sarnetta hurt my feelings. Like during the time I was donating money for equipment and such and such because I want to see the brother win.
I remember I called in one day and the
off.
brother hurt my feelings. The brother just hurt my feelings. Like, I'm like, damn.
So now we see why you don't want to be a part of the community. You got
no.
hurt too much.
I'm gonna tell you,
is.
no.
That's what it is.
This was
That's what
Hey,
it
Kofi,
is.
you need to do a whole show.
God
a
damn.
whole show on like my you know what I'm saying, your story coming into the community, bro.
Right.
Like,
It's terrible, brother. It's terrible.
Hey, his feelings matter, man. Like Sean, I wouldn't like Sean since Sean came in with some structure.
Right.
Sean a fraud too.
Man, Kofi got it out the mud, man. Sean got that silver spoon in his mouth, man.
Sean a fraud too.
Yeah.
Hey, but Kofi, don't
got it out the mud.
Sean ain't who he say he is. He ain't that tall in real life.
No, but Sean
He not.
bumped his head.
He not.
Sean
seen
bumped
that
his
nigga.
head along the way, though. Sean,
Yeah, he did.
Sean didn't
Right,
come
he
in
did.
right and exact, and he'll
Yeah,
tell you that
exactly.
shit.
He did.
He hit his head so many times stumbling in. So that shit is a process, man, and we all going through it. Like, yeah, Sean came in at a right time, in a right place, to the right people. But he still, in the beginning, he'll tell you this, was bumping his motherfucking head.
Correct.
We all do.
Hey, let Kofi be mad, man.
But he'll chastise me though.
But look,
He'll
though,
chastise
hold
me
on. Let me
for
finish.
it,
Let me finish. So
He a
whether you
buster,
come
though,
in,
Kofi. He
hold
a
on, let me
buster.
finish.
Respect
So
that.
whether you come in with the right people or the wrong people, you still got to get over them hurdles.
Kofi, forget all that, man. Kofi, he bought a Benz with your money, bro.
I ain't, you like I'm saying, you know that's not me. I ain't gonna. That's not me. I don't bash nobody. That's why I try not to mention his name.
Who hurt your feelings again? Kofi, was it Shaka?
No,
it was Benz with his money.
It was Saab. It was
Said it was for the news.
But like I'm saying, it was early. It was like I'm saying.
Hold
all
on,
this
which
stuff was
Saab?
early on.
You said a SAR?
No,
Sarnetta.
This was
Oh,
2014.
fuck. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was 2014. But I'm
Oh,
saying,
yeah, he beat you good.
Yeah,
He
I
beat
was
you
mad
good.
for like 2 weeks. But after 2 weeks, I went right back to watching this. I went right back to
2
watching.
weeks?
I went right back to donating. I went right back to every time he did a live stream. I paid for every live stream.
You was in the church. You was in the church of Sarnetta.
No, I
You was
was.
in the church.
Hey,
Yeah,
but look, Kofi, what made you so like what brought about that thirst? Like, if you being that your father was a preacher, like what made you, because that's like going the total opposite way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like what made you gravitate so strongly and just keep going? You know what I'm saying? Like what do you think it was?
Them spiritual girls.
It be like that though when you raise like that. Like when you raise strictly towards Christianity, it's more than likely you're gonna rebel. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, but I guess because like my father was a reverend too, but like I ain't grew up with my father though. You know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up.
Look at you now, goddamn heathen.
Yeah, but I wasn't raised. But I wasn't raised by him in the church though. That's why I wanted like for him to be raised and then know it through and through. But then you come into the atmosphere that's the devil.
Right.
Oh, you familiar with the preacher's daughter?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. Like, what made you keep going? And that's totally opposed to what you was already.
Damn, Ashu said her father was a pastor. Everybody's had a pastor.
Yeah, I don't, man.
Yeah.
My
Hey, you know what they say about them preachers' daughters?
Uh-oh.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, boy.
But you know, like,
Shut your mouth, boy.
I just got addicted to information. Like, and even at that point, I'm gonna tell you, at that point, my whole
a lot of y'all take
side
that.
of the family disassociated themselves from me. They were talking about me, man. I had a cousin who would always tell me, man, what the other side of my family was saying about me, and even for a period of time, there was no communication between me and my daddy, at all, because of
Bible Belt. Yeah.
Yeah, so from where I was at, and then one day, 2017. No, let me see. When I moved back to Brookhaven, I moved back to Brookhaven 2017, early 2017. About 2 months before, didn't know I was gonna move back home, but I came back to visit, and my dad wanted to sit down and have lunch with me. So I sat down with my dad, and like we had a conversation, and like
he seen how well read I was, and like I was saying stuff, and he was like, "Wait a minute, I don't understand that. What is this word?" He was pulling out his phone, looking up stuff, I was saying. So at that point, he kind of like, okay, well, he kind of taking what he's saying seriously. He actually researching and he's trying to understand things. So I just got to try to understand it too. Try to understand him too. So from that day, we kind of started back building our relationship back together, and and we talk. He just know that when we around each other, I don't say like certain things around him, certain things like he don't say around me, but but we do have some serious conversations at time. And like my dad, I even wrote in the book that I just put out, like the inspiration behind the beautiful lessons about Kimoyo was the inspiration was Asar and Ben, because I dedicated that book to them. But I also talk about what motivated me to write the book was my daddy, the conversation that I'm telling y'all back in 2007, where we sat down and we had a conversation and he picked my brain. And then my dad accepted me after the conversation because he found out that I just wasn't regurgitating some information or just following somebody. And then I cleared up a lot of misunderstandings that the church would have concerning our traditions. And then my father told me that when he was a little younger than I was, he was on the same path I was before he was in the church, and I talk about that in the book as well.
Oh yeah, that's
but
dope.
He couldn't. But at that time, you had to look at my dad in the early times. There was no internet.
Information wasn't that widespread like that.
Right. There was no bookstores with this information in. Like now, you got these black-owned bookstores, these African cultural centers, and the African books or whatever, Pan-African